You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
Alrighty. Good morning, good morning. We are live. What's up? How's it going, Tux?
GM.
Let me tweet this out. We are live. All right. Wow, what a week. What a week, huh? It's never easy being a Monero person, I'll tell you, man. It's like constant trials and tribulations in Monero land.
It really is.
Despite all our success, it always feels like we're swimming upstream all the time. Like, all the time. Right? Like, I mean, the Zcash stuff. Was it undervalued? 100%. It very much was undervalued.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's seeing how low its price was in some ways, but I think there's a reason for that. Like, I tend towards believing that it was like closer to reality, just seeing how the coin what had happened in the past, and I think we're seeing similar things now. What happened in the past with this sudden sort of institutional push, this mass sudden push of like, oh, Zcash, we're going to pump this shit to the moon. And the thing that, like, I think we talked about already like a week ago is just how seemingly institutional and organic it is. It stinks, you know? It just stinks in a lot of ways and is not, it's not relevant towards like actual users. It seems very. I mean,
it's very much coordinated. You have all this VC money behind it. You have these guys that are holding huge bags, that are very connected, right? When I say connected to the Silicon Valley crowd, connected to the crypto regulator crowd, right? Like Zcash is really linked in. Like they're connected with they have relationships with all the exchanges. They have, listen, I don't think we could say they're completely, obviously they're not completely centralized, right? They're a true crypto, but the early creators of Zcash, the founders of Zcash, they got their founders reward. They've been sitting on it for years. They've been accumulating additional Zcash. And these guys, they're big names. They're very well known in crypto. Now they have a ton. They're sitting on a ton, like a huge war chest, and they're just like I said, very much connected to important people in the crypto community. So overnight, once we saw this price start to pump, it's like all of these accounts came out of the closet. A lot of it seemed inorganic and fake. Like, I don't know if they're like paying for people to tweet, or a lot of them are just bots. Obviously, I think a lot of them are genuine people that have been sitting on Zcash for a very long time that are like now ready to go out there and talk about it. But it's, It's frustrating to watch as a Monero person, because we very much are the opposite in that respect. It's very grassroots in Monero. It is a lot more decentralized in terms of who's calling the shots, and the relationships. There is no group of Monero people that are holding huge bags, that are coordinating together, that are getting on the phone, talking to the exchanges, talking to like the regular, like we just don't have that in Monero. And so It just hits different. It hits different, and because of that, it's that's very much an advantage for Zcash. It doesn't feel right when you see it happening because in a way it is less organic, right? It's like this cabal that's pushing their coin, and they have all the connections. They're connected to the VC guys. They are the VC guys. They're connected to the regulators, and they want to pump their bags. And Zcash is on all the exchanges, right? And everybody in crypto loves a good pump. So it gets started like kind of artificially, and then you do have people that are bandwagoning jumping on because everybody just wants to be part of whatever the big pump is. So I would say congrats to them for pulling it off, right? I do think it was a matter of time for it to pump. It would have been it's smart to perhaps hedge a little bit and grab some for the ride. But now when you see it versus Monero, it's like if you want to go hedge now, it's a little risky, right? I mean, I'm sure Bawdy will get into this, but like we're at the top now in terms of Monero versus Zcash, right? So it's like you're kind of getting in at the top if you start trying to hedge and move some of your Monero into Zcash just because you want to ride the wave and then maybe move it back into Monero, right? Even if you want to do that, it's kind of a risky endeavor at this point. A lot of the upsides already happened. I mean, who knows? Who knows how high this is going to go? I do think Monero will get pulled up with it. It's just a lot harder for Monero to pump. And I guess the most frustrating part of all this is knowing that Monero is the leader, right? It is the leader. It's the number one in this sector of privacy coins. Not even by, obviously by market cap currently, but that can change. But more importantly, by way of adoption, by actual usage. People that are actually sending this stuff for purposes of, living off of it, for buying goods and services, for using it as a currency, not just some speculative thing. They bought it on an exchange and then they're waiting to dump it and turn it back into fiat. Monero is the
I'll try to crank your audio up just a little bit if you can.
Okay. It wasn't working well? Oh, I guess because I moved my mic maybe.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Right, that's the sweet spot.
I'll have to, leave it as is. Otherwise, you'll hear Penelope more than me. So yeah, I mean, the frustrating part is Monero is not as pumpable because it's not on the exchanges, right? So here we are. We're getting like privacy coins are getting highlighted. It's our moment in the sun, and meanwhile, Zcash, which has been completely out of the picture, right? They really haven't been on the scene at all. Now, all of a sudden, as soon as privacy coins start to take off, it's like Zcash gets the pump and Monero is just, chilling there. It's not easy to watch. It's not easy to take, but.
Well, I don't even think it really necessarily has anything to do with specifically privacy coins taking off. I think it's just a Zcash promotion that's happening specifically. Now, a rising boat does.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we are seeing the whole privacy coin sector go up, right? Everybody,
yeah.
But I
Now,
do
this
agree.
in general,
What's
like you're
leading
saying, it's getting attention, so like everything will benefit inevitably. But
that's the frustrating part, right? Like privacy coins are having their moment, but like the number one privacy coin is being skipped over. Like all these accounts, these OGs that are coming out and talking about it. They're not saying Zcash and Monero. They're just saying Zcash, right? Why?
Yeah.
Because we went over it. Because they hold big Zcash bags. These are like the guys that were part of the Founders Reward that, have been paid Zcash along the way, right? Like even like Coin Center, right? Coin Center, which is out there, has done a lot of good work advocating for crypto, for true crypto, advocating for privacy coins. A lot of their funding, I mean, I don't have the numbers, but it seems pretty obvious to me when you see the relationship between like the Coin Center guys and the Zcash guys. They've been paid by Zcash. I mean, I don't want to put misinformation. That's very apparent, right? Right, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they had the funds to do it. That's the nice part about their dev tax is it does give them this war chest to do things. So I have no doubt in my mind they've been paying people along the way. I mean, that's where that was the whole point of it, right? They're using the money for development, but they also use it to, hey, let's hire a law firm to figure out the regulation end of things so we could get on all these exchanges. In Monero, number one, we don't really have the funds easily accessible to do that. And number two, the community would never really get on board with something like that, right? Like, oh, we don't want to go bend the knee. We don't want to do this. But in Zcash, they got the funds and they have the coordination because it's a small group of people that are trying to make money with the project, right? They want it to go up. I'm not saying they don't have some cypherpunk aspects to them, especially the OGs, the people that like really, developed Zcash in the beginning. Mad respect for those people. Like, they created amazing technology, some of which Monero's copying. But then you also have the guys that are just, going along for the ride, like the Barry Shilberts of the world, right? He has this huge bag of Zcash. He was a big part of the Bitcoin pump. He was a big part of the meme that Bitcoin is digital gold. I think a lot of that came from like him. He put that from my witnessing of the space, like a lot of that came from him. He got the word out on there. Guy is super successful, super wealthy. He's got the Midas touch. He knows how to turn things into gold. And Zcash is one of his projects, and he's sitting on a huge bag of it. I don't know. That's my Zcash rant. I mean, what does that really mean for us? Enjoy the ride, enjoy the show. I would say I think it's probably a little bit dangerous at this point for those who are like, well, let me move a little Monero over there. I can enjoy, reap some of the benefits of this pump. I can move it back into Monero. I think this could be one of those times where you're closer to getting burnt than not. I don't know. Tux, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's like, I guess the same things that we really said last week. It's like, yeah, I don't really hate Zcash. I think it's got some cool technology, but it is really just this sort of like it's this corporate coded version of Monero that is just so antithetical to like a lot of the base reasons why people like Monero and why I think we need something like Monero is like a rejection of this kind of corporate control and this sort of connection to and bending to like the institutions and the exchanges. And I think it's an interesting use case in seeing how this, in a way, has sort of benefited them to a degree, and I think it's finally seeing that now. But once again, even though they're available on these exchanges because of the transparent address, like we're still seeing all these other peripheral things like promoting it. It's not natural or organic thing that's just coming out of people like, oh, we want privacy, so we chose Zcash. No, it's very obviously coordinated and forced, and people wanting to pump their bags probably. But it's not inherently a bad thing because it's like, okay, if this is going to make privacy hotter, then that's going to benefit the industry as a whole. I just hope that Monero is the one that will still continue to come up on top because it really is the defining privacy coin out of all of them. And it's been like that for years. And it is, in my opinion, the best, and that is because of the way it was created, its history, the way it's set up. Monero is a rejection of this sort of scammy and pre-mine, because Monero's been, like, it used to be Bytecoin, and then it got turned into Monero. Monero's, like, at its core is, like, a rejection of all of this sort of, like, scammy, shady shit, right? The way it's been created, and the way it's been transformed over time, trying to avoid all these things that happened to it in the past, I think speaks out versus Monero or versus Zcash, which is just continues to embrace the corporate nature and the sort of connections that they have to the institutions and like there's pros to it. Don't get me wrong, there's pros to it, but it's very different, and I think it's very antithetical to what like the reason why Monero has been so successful for so long.
Monero is the only crypto like that too. There's no other crypto that comes close to Monero in being, kind of the pariah, right? The crypto that the state hates, that the centralized authorities are trying to stop. Like Monero is the one, right? Bitcoin has been fully embraced, right? We've seen that with Bitcoin. Same thing. They've integrated into the system. You know, like you got people that are in the government that are trying to pump Bitcoin. They want to see Bitcoin pump. It's been fully embraced. Zcash is benefiting in a similar way because of their setup, because of their centralized nature in terms of, you know, the founders and whatnot and the dev tax, and they're using that to their benefit. And we're seeing a similar kind of similar outcome to what happened with Bitcoin. And Monero is not embraced. It's not embraced at all. It's feared. And if anything, resources are used against Monero, not to help Monero. And it's really the only crypto that falls into that category. So it
and
is
I'll
like
add to that
the
by
most
saying, obviously,
attacked.
I know what you meant, but Monero is embraced, but by like real people, not by
Yes, I'm not
corporations
completing
and
my
large,
sentence there.
not by
Yeah.
institutions. It's embraced by real people who want real money.
Of course, yes. Thank you for correcting me on that. Right? Yeah, it's embraced by the cypherpunks. It's embraced by the crypto anarchists. It's embraced by people that actually want untraceable digital cash that the government can't fuck with. Right? We're not here to work with the government and do it in a way where they benefit. That, you know, that is the purpose of crypto. It's not to empower centralized authorities. It's to take power away from them. Now, is there strategy in working with them? Yeah, I mean, that's worked out very well for Bitcoin, and you know, it's benefited the entire crypto environment. It's caused a lot of growth. But you do need a project like Monero. There's got to be at least one project like Monero that never bends the knee. Otherwise, all of crypto is neutered at that point. Monero's not neutered, and it intends on never being neutered. So that's what differentiates. That makes it a much harder fight. It makes it much more grassroots. But the victory will be oh so more sweet, though, when we finally do prevail, because we've taken the harder path, the path that no other crypto will travel. And if we do succeed, it means crypto has truly succeeded at that point. It's kind of the last hope for crypto in terms of having a true untraceable digital cash that's not integrated with the current system succeed.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like price, of course, like we've always said, is not everything. Like, sure, prices, I think it is important, and it is tied directly to Monero's security model in a way. I think it's oftentimes treated like it's like who's got the bigger dick, right? Which sometimes it's kind of fun to troll around, like, oh, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like price only means so much. Like, look at Bitcoin, right?
Exactly.
So, and that might sound like cope, but Monero's still worth more.
You know, I hate seeing the cope, and I don't want to perpetuate the cope. I've been, you know, staunchly against people coping. Like, let's be honest with what's going on. Let's take it as a moment to improve. Like, what are the shortcomings that we're seeing here? Like, why is this happening? Why is it Monero pumping as much along, you know, with this privacy coin pump? Yes. Like, what can we do? I mean, I guess those would say, well, there's nothing we can do because we don't want to be Zcash. We don't want to be, you know, have the, you know, the dev tax and whatnot. But I think there's things to realize, right? Like, all right, maybe rooting for Monero to not be on exchanges isn't the best thing, right? I get not wanting to change the protocol in any way for purposes of integrating with centralized systems. Totally agree with that, and we should never sway from that. But maybe it's okay for us to be like, all right, let's get on the exchanges. There's nothing illegal about Monero being on exchanges here in the U.S. We're on Kraken. Let's try to get on Coinbase. Let's try to get on Gemini. Let's try to get rid of the BitLight. Like, I think there's a lot of people in Monero that kind of cope in that respect and be like, no, we don't even want that. And it's just, that just hurts us unnecessarily, right? We could still be the super badass crypto, but we could take advantage of, getting the most access as possible, as long as it means we're not sacrificing in any way, right? We're not changing
See,
our
this was
code.
actually done years ago in what I would think would have been the right way, and I think part of the reason why it failed was because the name was so terrible. There's a group called Comply First.
Oh, yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah,
yeah,
yes,
and
of
like
course.
that was actually a good thing, but I think Monero community being a lot of like people who kind of reject like any amount of communication and like air quote like working with institutions, they don't like that. And then also the name itself was a very terrible name, let's be honest.
Yes.
Comply First, that's a dog shit name for
Yes.
it kind of conveys that, oh yeah, we're going to try and warp Monero into being something that works within the system instead of telling the system that, hey, it
Yeah.
already works, you don't have to do anything. So I think that's part of the reason why it failed. But we had that at one point, and unfortunately I don't think it got very far. But I think that is the right way to do it, where you actually have an external organization that's not tied directly to the decentralized Monero organization itself, that sort of works to benefit Monero instead of it being directly from a corporation.
Yeah. We need just like we have our group of researchers. We need I think it would be cool to have like a legal group. They could be badass Monero people that also happen to be attorneys that want to help work on this effort of working with regulators to inform them of why Monero should be considered legal and usable as is. Not working with them for purposes of changing Monero in any way, but advocating on behalf of Monero to say, hey man, there's nothing wrong. Show me the law that says, it can't be on an exchange. Show me that you got this requirement over here. All right, well, Monero is just like cash, right? Why is it being treated any differently like cash? We need people that can, like Coin Center, be out there advocating strongly on behalf of Monero from a legal standpoint. That doesn't mean bending the knee, but I think there's work to be done there. And yeah, Comply First, horrible name. Sends the wrong message. It's comply last, right? It's the last thing we want to do ultimately, but it doesn't mean we don't want to take advantage of what the actual regulations and laws are. Like why are we putting ourselves in a corner when we don't necessarily have to be there, right?
And to be fair, this would have happened like regardless, as we can see. And I want to reiterate your point earlier, is that it's like, yeah, seeing all of this recent activity of Monero being just constantly attacked from multiple ways, being delisted, and then seeing all this attention suddenly pivot to Zcash is what's like really suspicious. And that's the part that really stinks about it, is that you see Monero it's being legitimately attacked because it's effective, and then you see them suddenly prop up, like institutions propping up Zcash. And Zcash is supposed to also be a privacy currency. They have transparent addresses, but their shielded pools are supposedly really, really good. And that's the part that stinks a lot. It kind of, I think it vindicates Monero, and I think it'll vindicate Monero on the long term. XMR wins tipped 3 cents, seeing a lot of pumping up Zcash and rubbing Monero's nose in the dirt, spearing it as much as possible, even saying it's highly traceable. Really sucks for people to read that and not know. Yeah, I think there's a lot of this on both sides, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to complain about it. I think people complaining about it are more annoying than people doing it themselves. I just try to be honest as I can, and the reason why a lot of people are starting to talk about this issue from the Monero side is not because of cope. I'm sure there's some cope. Monero is still worth more than Zcash, and surprise, surprise, I hold a bag of Zcash, so it's actually making me money. However, people are seeing it for what it is, and that's really it. People are seeing it for what it is, and they're looking at the recent timeline of Monero constantly getting attacked, delisted, like backdoor things happening against it, being suppressed by Binance, like legitimately price suppressed. And then we're seeing Zcash just absolutely moon out of nowhere and getting promoted like nothing else. So that's what really stinks and is very obviously organic.
It's getting added to like investor funds, right? Like Barry Silbert's fund, right? Like,
Yeah.
How do people think that happens? That happens because you have these VC guys who worked on it, made it happen, right?
They just want to make their payoff, you know?
Nobody's working on that for Monero, right? And so you could say, all right, well, we don't want to work on that. Okay, but you're gonna get the bad with the good, right? So the good is we could say we're badass motherfuckers, but the bad is you're not gonna get that benefit of number go up, right? And Monero does need number go up. We can't be in denial of that. It's going to kill us. Will no longer be relevant. Will no longer be useful as a tool if our market cap doesn't continue to grow. So I do think.
But I'll say that we don't need it in the same way Zcash does. And I want to also iterate that, like, Monero being in the position it is actually incredibly impressive, like, considering how much it's been suppressed and attacked. Like, if this happened to anything else, it would have been destroyed, utterly destroyed. Considering like what Monero, I guess, had thrown at it, like recently the Cubic attacks, and then multiple delistings over the past couple years, Binance's suppression, there was like a spam attack last year, all these things, it is impressive the position that Monero is in. And I think it's like it's like the 7th most valuable cryptocurrency by price, not market cap. Market cap it's like 25th. But considering all these things, it's actually really impressive where it's at, and I think it has a lot more upside than downside. Zcash could overshadow it a little bit, but I think a lot of people are like seeing through it, or like, and they're rightfully speaking out against it and trying to lead people in the right direction. Anyway,
yeah, I mean, I'd see like the lessons to be learned here are, like I said, one, let's put some resources towards having a legal department that, separate from Monero, but a group of people just like the Monero Research Lab or whoever that, can ask for CCS funding or however it is they get funded to advocate on behalf of Monero. We could do the same thing with marketing, right? To advocate on behalf of Monero. Obviously, we have our people that are out there, they market just because they truly love Monero and they're just out there talking about it, but maybe we put some funds towards efforts, right? I think we've tried that a little bit in the past, but now's the time, right? We have funds now too, right? Our price is relatively high compared to where it's been in the past, so let's tap into our resources. So those two things, and what else? I mean, are the learning things here, things that we can learn here in terms of improvements to be made. Obviously, the tech is the tech, right? We have full chain membership proofs coming. That practically makes us equal in terms of tech, but it's more so the access.
It makes Monero better.
Yeah, all right, even arguably better, and I'd love to hear your reasoning for that. So yeah, I guess the last thing I would say too is just integrate more integrations, right? So having people advocating on behalf of us from like a legal standpoint, have people marketing for us, trying to get on centralized exchanges, and then just from the decentralized exchange part, right? We need more of that. We need better versions of that. We need more of that. We need Sarai. We need Sarai to launch, right? That doesn't mean we sit here and like yell at Luke. We give him the resources he needs to help make that happen, right? We need that to happen. There's conversations that are taking place on Twitter about Thorchain. Again, we hear that I feel like every year this topic comes up again, but now it sounds like there's some renewed interest there, and there's really no reason why it can't happen. Let's make that happen. It's not just going to happen on its own. Like, we could see a tweet and we could see the Thorchain people be like, "Oh yeah, I guess theoretically it's possible." If that were Zcash, they're on the phone the next minute. Like, hey, what do we got to do? All right, let's raise some funds. We'll give you some money. We'll get it done. We'll develop it. In Monero, nobody's going to run with the ball, right? You can't just assume, there's a little bit of a tragedy of the commons in Monero because it's so grassroots and it's so decentralized. So we need to kind of better organize in that respect so that we can bump up these efforts. We're doing a good job on the tech. We're doing a fantastic job on the tech. We're doing a fantastic job on the organic adoption. But I do think we need some centralized efforts outside of Monero that help advocate on our behalf. I think now's the time for that. I don't know, Tux, you think that could get legs or?
No, I mean, I agree. It's like if we want to see something, we got to maybe not harass, but really like make it so known. It's like you can't avoid it, right? And I don't remember the reason specifically for why Thorchain doesn't have Monero, but the fact that they have Zcash now is kind of, it's like, okay, what the hell happened there? But there's Zcash integration.
It was something with the multi-sig, supposedly.
Addresses. Yeah, which is something that will be improved in the next hard fork. So to be fair, there are some like technical reasons that makes Monero harder to integrate for some of these things. I think it might be possible with the next hard fork. But the Zcash integration, the reason why that was able to happen so quickly and so easily was because they're using the T addresses, to my knowledge. So that is an example of where having a T addresses sort of does benefit the project in a way. However, I still don't like the fact that it's default, right? If it wasn't default, it wouldn't be nearly as big of a deal.
Francisco saying, go for it, Doug. Organize a task force and lead it. To be honest, I think it won't go anywhere, but I'll support it in any way I can. Well, number one, like, I got a lot on my plate, guys. The Nodo, I just got the Nodo off of my plate, but that was taking a lot out of me in terms of capital and whatnot. Yeah, XMR Bazaar, that's very much on my plate right now. XMRChat, I mean, Fiat Demise pretty much runs the show with that, but it's another project on my thing. This show, the Monero Talk Show, like just trying to get a guest every week, trying to keep this going every week, which we do. The conference takes a lot of work, guys. MoneroCon's not even doing one next year. Why? Because it takes so much effort. It takes a lot of work, a lot of coordination. The conference alone is like a full-time side project. So yeah, I would love to also run with that, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm only one person. We can't just rely on me. We can't just rely on Vic. I mean, Vic does so much for the Monero community. Cake Wallet does so much but I feel like we've become a little bit reliant on them. We need others to step up and run with the ball. Go Monero, go. Tip 3 cents. Might be really cool to see a very thorough side-by-side of both XMR and Zcash, like very combed through. Also might be cool to have Bawdy do another debate with someone on XMR versus Zcash. Yeah, for sure. Now is the time to do that. Maybe I could get a show going next week. I wasn't able to get one together this week for Monero Talk, so I don't know who would be a good guest for that. Just doing like the Monero to Zcash breakdown, rundown. Privacy OG tip 25 cents. Zcash success where they remain listed or get relisted on SEX is because they complied with SEX policy of using transparent addresses only for buying and selling. Yeah, no, I know they made a new form of address, but that's, Monero is on centralized exchanges. Like, people I don't know why people like to pretend that it's illegal for Monero to be on exchanges here in the U.S. It's on Kraken. Monero's on Kraken. So we didn't do anything. We didn't create some new address to be on Kraken. We're on Kraken. We're just not on a lot of the other exchanges. And so maybe if, there was some smart attorneys from advocating on our behalf, it can be explained to these other centralized exchanges and explain to the regulators in different jurisdictions that there should be no reason why Monero can't be on the exchanges. And then maybe we come up against some things where it's like things are revealed. All right, there actually is some reason here why it can't be on the exchange. But maybe we also find that, all right, people weren't properly talked to, they weren't given the proper information, and they just assumed that they can't be listing it. We can't just assume, right? We got to take action and we got to push.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so push, guys. I'm definitely pushing here. I'm trying to, and I know there's a lot of other people do it, especially the devs, the researchers. There's people doing a tremendous amount of work, much more important than the work that I'm doing. Look at Bawdy, man. Bawdy just started building a simulator for testing, the different proof of work implementations. He does this show. He doesn't even get paid to do this show in any way. I mean, but Bawdy's only one man, right? We need more people to step up, take action. There's little things you could do. Use Monero. Go on XMR Bazaar. Try to earn Monero on XMR Bazaar. go out there on the interwebs and talk about Monero. And then there's bigger things you can do. You can get more involved. Don't assume you can't do them, and definitely don't assume somebody else is working on it. Never, because even if somebody else is working on it, you know, it's good. The more, the better, right? So that's my rant. That's my rant. I think it's necessary though. 170 live viewers, guys. Like and retweet. We got Bawdy. Let's bring him up. But I'll just quickly shill Monerotopia. Because it is important to keep pushing this. We want to take full advantage of all the efforts we're putting in. We want to make this one bigger and better than ever. And this year it really should be, right? Privacy coins are peaking. This should be our time. Full chain membership proofs is about to launch. Hopefully by conference time in February, it will be essentially ready to be added. And then my understanding is then we just kind of have to wait like 6 months for the word to get out to all the exchanges and whatnot and all the wallets so they can get upgraded and be ready for it. But by February, you know, the code itself will be ready to be committed. So yeah, February 12th to the 15th in Mexico City at the same amazing venue. We'll have the marketplace going. It's going to be fantastic. It really is. You know, last year blew me away. I was like very impressed by what it turned into, and what made it so amazing wasn't me. It was just the people that showed up. And this year, yeah, definitely should be bigger and better for all, you know, for all the reasons. Also because we have two great main stage sponsors, Cake Wallet and Edge. They stepped up right away. So we got some good funding to run with. We got some good speakers on board, talking to a bunch of people, and we'll get them on board. There'll be no shortage of content. Usually the problem always is we have too much content. We're only going to have one main stage, and we have a hard time fitting everybody, all the talks on that stage, even with essentially 4 days, almost 4 full days of conference. So Cake Wallet will be giving a talk. Paul Pui from Edge will be giving a talk. We'll have Rucknium, who's doing so much work behind the scenes. He'll be remote, obviously. He's completely anon. Aaron Day, super excited. He'll be there. Jeff Rowe will be there. I just did a Monero talk with him. Jeff Rowe is, you know, one of the devs who I think isn't spoken about enough. He does tremendous work for Monero. He's working on the Carrot implementation and just helping with the implementation of full chain membership proofs. Diego Salazar will be out at the conference. He hasn't been at a Monero conference in a long time, so very excited that he'll be there, and he's bringing other people from CipherStack. So there'll be, you know, he'll be giving a talk. I'm sure we'll have another talk from somebody else from CipherStack. These guys are very you know, a big part of the full chain membership proofs implementation. So those talks will be also focused around the work they're doing with full chain membership proofs. Maybe they'll be giving talks on, you know, making Monero more quantum resistant and whatnot, because I know that's something they want to work on as well. Amir Taki, not 100% sure if he can make it, but he's like, you know, please add me because I would love to be there. He's just got to see if he can, because without going into too much detail, last year they gave him a hassle trying to come into Mexico, so he might not want to deal with that again. But really hopeful that he'll make it. And yeah, we'll be adding a lot more speakers here, a lot more privacy tech projects. I am talking to Zcash, guys. I've mentioned that on this show since before it started to pump. So we'll see if they want to participate. I don't know what's taking them so long. All of a sudden, these guys who can like have this ability to do things in kind of a centralized way, all of a sudden it's a little difficult for them to coordinate and agree to attend the conference. So I don't know what that's all about. I hope they do come. I think it'd be cool. It would be a little, you know, it would definitely add to the energy, and we could hear a Zcash talk. We'll have panels. We'll have panels talking about, you know, proof of stake versus proof of work. I'm sure that will be put out there. And all the other major big topics, maybe something on, you know, making these protocols more quantum resistant, a debate about, you know, the different privacy coins and the different, you know, their different technical advantages and different advantages. I'm sure that will take place. So it's going to be fantastic, guys. Grab your tickets and email me at monerotopia@protonmail.com if you want to participate in any way. You want to be a speaker, you want to be a vendor. If you want to just come and sell stuff, we'll give you we'll set you up at the table. If you want to come and like shill your business and company and you guys actually have a budget, we'd ask that you sponsor in some way. Otherwise, if you have no budget and you're just looking to push some project, we'll get you involved for free. Monerotopia@protonmail.com. Grab your tickets, and I'd say even more importantly, start grabbing your plane tickets and your lodging too. But there's plenty of lodging options there, so that shouldn't be an issue. But I would start grabbing the plane tickets, and that is that. All right, let me take that off the screen. But yeah, let's bring Bawdy up here because we do have a special guest, and he's set for 12:30. And now I went on and ranted too long, as I always do. But I got the Zcash on the mind, guys. I got to get it out. Let's get Bawdy up here. Certainly big week in price, and then we will get our special guest. It's what's the guy's name?
HappyLanding25 on XMR Bazaar.
HappyLanding25 and XMR Bazaar. This isn't happening in Zcash land as far as I could tell, right? There is no vibrant peer-to-peer economy. In Monero, there is. There's the dark markets. There's also the clear market where illegal goods and services are being sold. He's going to come on and tell us about the property that he's selling in Japan. So very excited to hear about that. I think he's calling in from Japan, and then so hopefully we'll get a lowdown on whether or not there's a Monero scene in Japan. So excited for that. But without further ado, let's do the price report.
Let's do it.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
All right.
Hey guys, good morning.
Good morning, man.
Jim, Bawdy, as always.
What's up?
How y'all feeling today?
Feeling riled up.
Yeah, I can hear.
Watching the Zcash pump. Yeah, I'm good. Shitty weather here though. Summer has unofficially ended here in New York. We've had an extended summer up until about 3 days ago, and now we've transitioned into full-on fall. Just in time for my daughter's christening, which is bad timing, but yeah, we'll make the best of it.
I barely even know what summer means or is anymore. I mean, we have a slightly bit of a winter here in central Mexico. It gives way into a quote unquote summer, and then from about June until now, I mean, it's been cloudy and rainy and about 80 degrees for months and months and months, and the clouds will clear up here in a few months, but we'll still stay like 70 to 80 degrees every day until maybe December, January hits, and it gets a little bit cold.
So you're exiting the rainy season.
I hope not. We got out of the El Nino. The El Nino was a really big. We actually had a real summer a few years ago because of that little brat El Nino was causing problems. But we are supposed to be exiting the rainy season, but sometimes it sticks around.
So it's cloudy for how long? Like what percentage of year?
Oh, let me see. June, July, August, September. Probably about 4 months of pretty consistent cloud cover.
And it's like the sun doesn't pop out at all. It's like
maybe once every. I mean, you'll see the sun poke its head out here and there, but by and large, it's cloudy for. I mean, it's not like overcast cloudy. It's different types of cloudy, kind of a tropical version of cloudy, if you will.
So you still get the vitamin D if you're out there hanging out, right?
Yeah. Especially if you're out there in midday, you can still get sunburn even with the clouds.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, it's a lot better than New York. I mean, obviously our summers are pretty good, but they're really short. They're really short, and then it's winter for quite some time.
Honestly, man, it's the biggest reason why I just like, I don't know if I'll ever leave this part of the world.
Yeah, quality of life. You can't beat that. You can't beat that.
I mean, there's a few things I miss from living in the States, my roads in particular. But, you know, we don't have, like, the cops don't give you speeding tickets here like they do in the States.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences, I'd say.
The problem is they don't need to. The roads aren't exactly, they're not much to be admired. Once you get on the, like, if you can get on the quota or on the toll roads here in between cities, you can basically go as fast as you want, almost as fast as the mountains will let you go. But apart from
that.
Say what?
I need that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Bawdy's a speedster. I mean, Tux. All right, man. Yeah, I guess take it away. I don't know if you wanna give us your Zcash take before you get into it, but I'm sure you'll give it as you go.
This is the Zcash cope sesh.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess it's all been covered. You know, some people are kind of revealing who they are. I think we just need to we need to accept that it might not be the case. It could just be a pump and dump. That's what the cabal tends to do. But, you know, they've pulled out every other trick that they can for Monero, right? They removed it from their federal publications back in 2019, 2020. They stopped mentioning it. They pretended it didn't exist. That way, you know, the ignore it phase is well over. They did the silent site price suppression. We astutely revealed that, proved it. And now it's the attacky phase. And I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, you guys have said it all, right? Like, just go figure. Cubic happens and they get this massive bot army. Cubic has disappeared. I don't see anything Cubic on Twitter. Zero now. I see twice as much Zcash stuff now as I previously saw Cubic, and it's just bot. I wanted to remind everyone, guys, report and block these bots. Like, if we do this in mass, it's gonna hurt them at least a little bit.
Good point. That's a good point.
I don't want to say it on Twitter because then they're gonna start doing it to our genuine people, and we're gonna get like Aaliyah got banned, not banned, but like shadow.
Yeah,
banned.
What's up with that? And then another guy too, another Monero account, got soft banned or whatever you call it as well. For
how do you even
nothing.
know? Like, am I soft banned? I mean,
no, you open their profile and it says that this user has been temporarily restricted or something for their profile or something like that. Like, if I open up Aaliyah's profile, it says, caution, this account is temporarily restricted, and you have to click yes, view profile.
The fuck?
Yeah, for absolutely nothing. I can't possibly think of something Aaliyah that would post that would violate any. I mean, Aaliyah obviously is, very much a Monero agorist account, cypherpunk account, but I can't think of anything that would have actually violated their obscure vague terms or whatever.
No, I mean, a lot of us are very, let's just say, abrasive in certain ways, and Aaliyah is not.
Yeah, she's not in any way
at all.
Yeah.
She's just like, I like the coin, and she actually does real development for it. So yeah, very weird. Yeah, we got the bots out there. Just report and block them, as much as you can. They're so obvious.
Bawdy, I mean, I'm sure you'll get into this too, but I was trying to make the point to, this idea, if you want to try to ride the Zcash wave, hedge a little bit with the hope of moving back into Monero and gaining some more Monero, probably pretty risky to do it at this point, right?
It depends on what it may or may not be, right? It depends on what your model of the situation it looks like. Because it's possible that this could last for a long period of time, right? Because they're bringing out the real attack stuff against Monero, and they would much rather you focus and people focus into Zcash. I honestly question how much of this is actually, any of it is organic. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of we see a lot of influencers that are paid off. I think more often the case is that people give anonymous donations and have been giving anonymous donations in Zcash. Hey, I noticed you don't have a Zcash address. I really appreciate your work, man. I've learned a lot. I want to support your podcast, right? And then, but I have Zcash and I want to stay anonymous, right? And oh yeah, okay, I'll make a wallet here, and then they start sending them money, right? They're not on they're quote unquote not on the payroll. They're not being paid off. They're not sponsored. They can claim with a clear conscience, I'm not sponsored. I take donations from all sorts of cryptocurrencies, right? Like it's like self-deception kind of thing. But I mean, I'm guessing. I'm making a lot of inference there, guys, but that's what I think is very likely happening with some of these influencers. Obviously, just fucking paid off 500,000 people, right? And they're out there shilling Zcash, and then they launch into Charlie Kirk immediately. Like, I don't want to.
Oh yeah, that one we got to play that actually on.
Please don't.
Who is that guy? That guy's he's like represents like the worst of crypto. He's like, I got this coin to pump today. I remember I feel like he got popular when the Trump coin dropped. That was like the first time I saw him out there, like really like he was shilling Trump coin. And now he's shilling Zcash.
They pre-position and seed these accounts for years. They do that. They have every like tool in their toolbox, right? They're like Jerome Powell. They've got tools all over the place. And they find people that are useful idiots. They find people that are willing to be bought. They pre-position accounts, that sit there for a long period of time, and then they rise up at some period, some perfect moment. So yeah, but we just have to anticipate this could last longer than we think it might. Maybe it doesn't, but it could. And that could be their way to try to do their best. And it's probably they have to pay to do it. It's just like Cubic. They lost money reorganizing the chain. They lost money attacking the chain, but it might be an investment for them because they need you to buy their shit coins and not Monero.
Well, it looks like their investment's paying off though, right? With the pump, so it's not like
no, this is not a real pump. This didn't pump because a bunch of people organically got into Zcash. It pumped because they made it pump. Like that's just how these things work. Bitcoin has no business being above $100,000, but it's going to stay there because they're really good at managing prices of things. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people own Bitcoin, right? It's not that it shouldn't have a high price at all. I'm not saying that. It should still have a high price, but it shouldn't be above 100,000. That's a fraudulent price, and Bitcoin's price is not entirely, but a large component of Bitcoin's price is based on fraud, just like all of the other cryptocurrencies. And Monero's price is also based on fraud to the reverse direction. I know from an outsider perspective that can sound like hope, but it's not. It's just the facts of cryptocurrency. We've seen over and over and over again over the years. It's been proven ad nauseum that crypto prices are fraudulent. Nothing about what happens on these exchanges resembles an organic, rational, or fair market.
All right. I'll let you take it away.
With that, we had a big price drop on Friday. It was what happened is Trump came out and he talked about doing some tariffs, and he's going to, I don't know, something about Xi and China, always China. And so the markets tanked in the afternoon. Monero's version of that was about 23% to the downside. Whatever, we're used to that kind of stuff. It's no big deal. I have currently recovered a little bit. I guess we're about, maybe that's 11% down. Yeah, about 11% down. Overall, nothing important was broken, at least for Monero. And I don't think for crypto either. Nothing important was really broken. We really just got into these lower standard deviations, and even better, what you can see happens here is this is beautiful, right? We had, and this is a long chart, months long chart. We had the big breakout from the hack, which I am very suspicious of the nature of whatever that was. Hell, I might as well just, we have until about 12. Oh, we got plenty of time. Wait, does Tony need to get on and do the news before the guest comes on? Probably, so I shouldn't go too long. Okay, so yeah, what happened here, I really, really do ask myself, especially in light of everything that's happening, with Cubic and Zcash and the whole fabric of bullshit that's going on, especially, lately. We had Monero. They suppress. Let's go to the daily. They suppress, and we finally, we're generating slow adoption, consistent, steady adoption to the point that, hey, it's getting harder and harder for them to keep the price from breaking out. We get this kind of pattern in the price that reveals, sorry, man, I'm off today. We get this pattern in the price that reveals those dynamics. And then we say, hey, this thing is, the worst that can happen is this wick down here on the macro crash that comes right back. No, it's time. The thing is going to break out. It's just time, right? And then what happens? Oh my God, the only hackers and drug dealers use Monero. And that was some quote unquote hack happened. And then things went to the top side. For all we know, this guy was a genuine sell. For all we know, they were just waiting for someone to genuinely sell their coin. They might have even been like waiting for the right person that sold their coin onto Coinbase or whoever, and then gave them an address that was unknown and then made it look like a hack, right? Like we don't know. Like, again, all we can do sometimes, most of the time with these corporate assholes, is just speculate on what they're doing. But the fact that this pump up here was because of a hack, that I was always kind of suspicious of that. And I'm even more suspicious of it now. This was going to happen no matter what. Like, something was going to drive that because of the evidence that the price chart was showing us, right? Like, this is just the evidence of the dynamics of what's happening. Especially a coin like Monero that's so suppressed and actually has to gain price via real organic adoption and usage. So anyways, but coming back to the shorter term here, this is actually still just fine on our price action. So we had a big pump up, and then things sort of come back down here to the lower standard deviation levels. And then on the shorter time frame, same thing happens, right? We sort of create these shorter, and then we get a wick down on, again, a macro crashy kind of vibes with the trade, the tariffs coming back, which is what caused the macro crash, the mini crash, whatever, back in April, right? It was the tariffs, the tariffs showing up and then causing that problem, whatever. And then so once again, we have this wick down here into exactly kind of a level you might expect. You would rather to have this stop right there, but okay, whatever. We're currently at that level. This is the 4-hour chart anyway, so the daily chart really truly is some kind of close right around here. If we come back to the top side and continue doing this, there's a very high probability of breakout. So nothing looks terrible with the Monero chart right now. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are just continuing to hodl, to use the stupid degenerate phrase. I pointed this out a few weeks ago, that we're kind of looking at this potential inverse head and shoulders on the Monero versus Bitcoin chart. And I said, hey, what we really want to see is this thing to come back, towards the top side somewhat, for us to say that, hey, this actually could be a right shoulder. I'm not, again, when it comes to these like cute, anecdotally little named patterns, I don't know how much how much credence I put on them. We had a very, very large, beautiful head and shoulders on the Monero dominance like a year or two ago that absolutely did not play out. So I'm not super convinced about the head and shoulders here being something that's going to really truly play out. If it does, it probably is going to take some time for this thing to truly to really play out. It'll probably take to the end of the quote unquote bull market, maybe, and maybe it won't start really happening until things start really going down. There'll be a lot of volatility involved, even if that happens. One of the things that I would just point out here is that our little macro crash didn't really do anything to the ratio. So that's actually pretty interesting, that Monero versus Bitcoin, that the ratio was actually just fine. So that's cool. We don't actually see anything here on the divergences. Nothing really has shown up in terms of exchanges pushing the price down. In fact, if anything, they're all offering slightly more, a slightly higher price for Monero than Kraken is doing right now. Not by much, right? We're talking like 0.5%. Hypothetically, if you could actually withdraw Monero from these exchanges, maybe actually, no, the other way around. You could, at these levels here, when you're looking at a percent divergence, you could buy off of Kraken and then sell onto these exchanges. You need a lot to be able to make that actually profitable, right? Like, because if you're talking about 1%, and that's at best, right? You're getting at best 1%, and you usually get charged like 0.25%. At best, right? I think Kraken charges 0.25%. That's a pretty standard number to be charged for trades. So if you were to get charged 0.25%, on both sides, that means you're only getting 0.5% profit there. So I mean, what if you move $100,000? What are you going to get? Like, you're going to get like $5,000 profit there, right? That's just not very much. No, wait, 500. Sorry, you get $500 of profit off of $100,000 movement, like, and you got to take the risk to. Nah, that's just not worth it. Like, so that's probably, it's another reason why they can get away with this, because it's. Then again, hypothetically, if you want to, if the Monero army wants to do their part, and everybody takes part in this, I guess that's something we could do. But it just seems, I don't know, it doesn't really seem worth, the juice is not worth the squeeze in that case. Let's see. Monero dominance. Is this also a head and shoulders? Is this also another head and shoulders? Looks like it. But we've seen this before, so I'm not going to put too much credence into that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the privacy altcoins. All right, let's look at Cubic, I guess, because they're kind of important. They're not really a privacy coin, but I guess they're just here for just because. Like, where else am I going to put them? Yeah, so they had their macro crash too. They came into the lower standard deviation. If Cubic does this, that will be the end. We won't see. That'll be a sign that they're done with their Cubic attack or whatever, and which is kind of good. Then it gives us the leisure of just taking our time to figure out what is the best countermeasure to make sure this doesn't happen again. But yeah, if Cubic's price going down will spell the inability of them to bribe miners for successful selfish mining attacks. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. This could very easily be their temporary bottom, especially if this was just a stupid... Guys, with the fraud, we'll get this in the macro, I guess, but with the fraud happening since the Trump admin, the extra special mucho fraud happening overall that wasn't happening with Biden in markets, this whole tariff thing that they did on Friday could have just been a way to an excuse for liquidation wipeouts in the bull market. They do this, it happens. They see a lopsided long market and they say, all right, now is the time to completely destroy people's positions, sometimes lives. People actually do terrible things when stuff like this happens, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, I'm not saying that Cubic is going to go down. All I'm saying is that it could, right? This is not looking like the best price action. Realistically, what this chart shows you is constraining volatility, right? So from a more probabilistic technical tea leaves perspective, you would look at this chart and say, yeah, expect this thing to kind of do, something like that, and then make some kind of movement. So we're probably still looking at a few months of this chart continuing to occupy this zone right there, which is enough for them to cause problems. They don't seem as dedicated as they used to be to causing problems. They'll start selfish mining for a little bit and then they'll stop, and the reorgs are not very long anymore. So we would love to see this chart start breaking down. That would be great. That would be the end of the Cubic episode, and then we'll have to deal with the with the Zcash episode. I don't think there's anything we can do about this, guys. I don't think that there's any amount of, and sorry to push back against, I'll just give you an alternative opinion to what Doug articulated earlier. I 100% support anyone that wants to go out there and do Monero promotion in the corporate world and with the regulators and all that stuff. Like if you think that's going to make a difference, then sure enough, go ahead and do that. Like there are still some honest people in those positions, and maybe you can turn a few ears. But I don't think the primary mechanism there is a fear of Monero. I think it's a dedicated push by corporate interest that will never, unless we intend to make our coin ASIC mineable under, I don't know, let's just say it's Equihash. Let's roll Monero under the 70% pool of Zcash, and merge mine with Zcash and then pay off the suits. And then maybe we'll get some pump, right? Then maybe we'll get some support, but we won't. That's the thing, we won't, because if we pay them off, they're just going to sell the price down ultimately. Like Zcash's price is fucking horrible. Like it had this, right? So here's the Monero versus Zcash. It had their big pump more than they've ever had before. They have their lie of a narrative. But like, no, like they don't have the financial interest to do it. So it doesn't even, like, these people are completely amoral. They're amoral to immoral, but they're definitely not moral. They don't have any interest in like doing the right thing. You have to incentivize them, and the only incentive that they would listen to at this point is money. So we have to pay them off, and if we pay them off, that'll hurt our price because they're going to sell. So like there's no way out of this. The only way, quote unquote, way out of this is just adoption, natural organic usage and adoption, which we have. Like there's our price is made up of real people that buy and hodl for value storage and usage in many contexts, not just dark webs, although that is one important use case. So I don't think there's anything that we can do in the terms of the corporate world. The suits have their Zcash coin. Let's see, here we go. Here's the actual Zcash price. The suits have their coin. And look at this. The fact that Zcash is like doesn't even show by now doesn't even show that there was a macro crash. Like, no, that's not. Bitcoin is still down. right? This is not real, right? Zcash, and I saw it actually happening in real time yesterday, where things came down and then they slowly they bumped their price up, and it's fraudulent. It is fake. It is fraudulent. This price is not real. I think everybody here knows that. But yeah, there's no convincing the suits to not be interested in the coin that they 25% dev tax, 70% ASIC mine, with one single fucking pool. It's 100% ASIC mine, because all these ASICs, practically all of them, are owned by these ASIC companies and by their fucking shells, their AstroTurfs, right? It's all Bitmain, right? It's 80% of Bitcoin is mined by Bitmain block templates. So it's all Bitmain. It's fake. It's decentralization theater. And if Bitcoin is decentralization theater, then please, Zcash, no, just not a chance.
I saw one of the wicks touched 140 on Kraken, so it almost cut the half in price during the event yesterday.
Oh yeah. That's a good point they lost like 44%, 44% of their price yesterday from top to bottom, which is that's quite a wick to make.
I better take a bit of a dive too, just like everything else, but to the degree was much less severe than, like, dude, Litecoin on Kraken hit 56. Ridiculous. Hit $56. Absolutely insane.
I actually want to see that.
Just cascading
shit.
God. Stop losses, and then probably cross margin being used, which were liquidating people's spot positions as well.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's really bad. Yeah. And the thing is, like, Zcash should follow that. Let's actually take a look here and see. You know what we could do to look at the overall picture instead of Zcash versus Monero? Let's look at Zcash.d, which is going to be the Zcash dominance. They only just started. All right, so this is another suspicious thing I would look at and say, only as of since October did they start reporting Zcash dominance. Who got with CryptoCap to decide to start reporting Zcash? That, like, these kinds of decisions.
Dude, this narrative is so forced. I keep seeing some of these people start talking about how Zcash is going to replace Bitcoin. It's like, how many times has this happened and how many times has this failed? This has happened so many times where it's like, oh, BSV, BCH, they're going to replace Bitcoin, and they end up just sort of being pump and dumps.
Yeah, so you can see here even. So what I did is I took Zcash USD divided by total 3. So total 3 being all of the market cap except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And yeah, you can see it looks like nothing even happened. The Zcash has somehow come out on top of the macro crash. It's like it didn't even happen for them, which is kind of another reason I'm saying, like, don't expect this to go away, guys. Like, this thing could continue going on. I'm not going to bet on it, right? I'm not going to put any money on this because I'm not going to help them do it. I'm not even predicting that it will go on. I'm just saying that it could. Like, other times that Zcash has pumped relative to Monero, I've always been like, yeah, that's going to return to some kind of normalcy. But I do think it's possible this could continue on for longer than we would prefer, and we would think. They're going to try and, because again, they need to be able to manufacture something. They need to be able to manufacture attention away from Monero. Hey, and as far as I'm concerned, if optional privacy into a ZK snark, if optional ZK snarks is the magic ticket, then I'll take Ethereum Tornado Cash every fucking day. 1,000 times X, I'll take Ethereum with Tornado Cash, because like, Ethereum actually has other useful things. Like, don't tell me you've never used a stablecoin out there, boys, except for Shortwave. He gets a pass. I know he's never used a stablecoin. Everybody else out there, I know you all have used a stablecoin at least once in your life, which means you've used an Ethereum, an EVM platform, or a Solana. At that, now they've got Solana.
Tron is very popular with USDT now.
Massively popular in other parts of the world. So yeah, like, and then Ethereum's got the gold tokens, right? If you want a gold exposure without having to, like, go through the dick dance of some, like, bullion vault exchange, whatever, and then paying the friction there. You just get into a gold token or a silver token. I think they have those too now. And all kinds of stuff, right? Like, there's just, and all sorts of things that you can use Ethereum for. Not this is the Ethereum shilling show, but why would I take a ZK snark with optional privacy that does nothing else other than money, which isn't even really good money, because it's like It's like if the banks at least own the money. The Federal Reserve doesn't own the money, but like if the Federal Reserve owned all the money, it would be even worse. That's Zcash. So like, I'll just take Ethereum. Like, why would I use Zcash? But they can spend them. Here's what gives me comfort. It costs them money to do this, right? To do this with Zcash costs them money. This is not a free thing. They had to pay off influencers to do this, just like they had to pay to bribe miners with Cubic to attack Monero. Same thing with Zcash. They have to pay influencers to get the price to do this. They have to give anonymous donations, because I love and support your work in Zcash, to people, to useful idiots. And yes, they are idiots. You can see it in their idiot little faces. Enough of that. They're probably listening right now, and they're probably seething with anger. Get smarter, bros. Like, stop selling out. Fuck's sake. All right, Pirate Chain also doing pretty well. Pirate Chain has this is interesting, guys. Pirate Chain seems to have this dynamic as well, where they had the wick and now they're already above where they previously were. It's like the macro crash didn't happen at all for them, despite the rest of crypto still being significantly down, right? So this, if the narrative was that privacy is so in vogue and everybody loves the privacy now, Monero would already be at 500, right? We would also have the same wick. It tells you that there's a divergent, because again, Monero is the highest market cap privacy coin, which is a retarded phrase. It's just money, and which in privacy is one of the things money has to be. But you all know that. If that was really the case, that this was the privacy narrative was holding up the price of Zcash so much, then it would also be showing for Monero. The fact that it's not tells you that it's a lie, right? It tells you that this action is a lie. But we already know that, right? It's just like everything you look at, every fucking little tiny thing that we look at, it says, hey, this is a bullshit. Here's a bot. This is a bot. In fact, it's a fabric of bots on Twitter that appeared out of nowhere. It's twice the amount of bots of Cubic now. And we have all these people that like these big influencer names, and then we look at the price, and nothing about the price makes sense either, whether in terms were relative to Bitcoin or relative to Monero, relative to other privacy coins. Like, nothing about it. Every fucking thing that we look at makes this look like fake generated bullshit. So that's just how it goes. I know I'm animated about all that, but that's just the reality, right? Like that's the reality we're dealing with. So I don't think that any amount of talking to the regulators and making friends with the suits is going to do anything unless we want to pay them off. And then I know that's a slight bit of a counter idea, but there's other things we can do. What do we need? We need a web wallet, guys. We need someone out there, please, for fuck's sake, make a web wallet. Make an integrated web wallet, Firefox, like MetaMask, but Monero Mask. that would actually work pretty good. Call it Monero Mask, and make it a Firefox extension, right? We need that in a bad way. We need an app for RetaSwap. And we also need a website for RetaSwap. You can just get on, just like you could with XMR, with like local Monero. We need that you don't have to download an app. You don't have to verify the software and check the signature. You just go to a web page and boom, it works, right? That's what we need. Somebody out there, please make that if you are capable. Even if you're not capable, give it a try. If you're into coding and you have some skills, give it a try. Think architecturally, right? We won't get into that. We won't go off. All right, Bitcoin, as you can see, has come down here. This is actually still like, there's nothing wrong. Like the price is still fine. Like nothing has broken here. This is just like, this is just a Friday afternoon, right? In crypto, that's what, minus 13%. Please, nothing to be worried about here. I think this is largely the entire macro. We'll talk more about this macro crash here. This was just a liquidation wick, guys. Like everything's still fine. Like, I don't know, we'll just draw some lines just because we could do this here. Maybe we can connect that. Yeah, I mean, this is fine. At some point, this line will probably break. And when this line breaks, I'm going to have to consider that to be, and I'm doing this willy-nilly, right? I have not examined this. I just saw this right now. Yeah, we could probably draw this line maybe somewhere around like that. When this line breaks, guys, that's going to be the final push into the blow off top. Whenever this breaks, I don't know. Could be, could be some period of time, right? Doot, and then that will be the top somewhere when that happens. So that, I don't know. That's take that for what it's worth. It's just kind of like a little bit of speculation there. We'll leave that line. Let me save this chart. Hopefully it saves. Yeah, but Bitcoin is fine. Everything's fine. Let's take a look at the dominance, right? Bitcoin spiked up on the dominance. Everyone moves into Bitcoin when the fear happens. So it went up there. If we see everything get back to normal rapidly next week, then you'll know that it's time for big gains to be coming in. You could actually go long. Like you could actually take a leverage long at that point because they've already wiped out the wicks. They've already wiped out the leverage. They've wiped out the margin. They've taken their cut. Even though they print the money, they're they need more always. It's fucking greedy. But yeah, if everything comes back to normal, by like, let's say Tuesday of next week, it's time to get big long, right? You can make a lot of money getting big long doing that. And you'll see a real, like another big push move in the altcoin direction. Let's take a look. We're looking at total 3 here. Yeah, total 3 still looks fine. Come on, chart. Very slow. Had a big wick down. It's still a higher low. Yeah, still a higher low. Everything's fine here. That's total 3. Let's take a look at total. I'm sure it also looks fine. Yeah, this chart still looks bullish. As a trader, as an analyst, you would look at this wick and you'd just be like, you would laugh, hopefully, unless you got wiped out, right? Like, this is why I caution you guys against margin trading. Like, listen, in a lot of ways, there is a certain wisdom to saying my liquidation price is my stop loss, and then only putting your positions at isolated margin and only putting your positions small, and say, and then do the calculation correctly. Say, hey, you know, where do I actually want my stop loss to be, and then make that your liquidation point. Because I've seen people out there that were like, hey, I had my stop loss in, and it happened so fast that my stop loss never triggered, and I got wiped out. And so if you're trading with 50% of your stack or 90% of your stack, and you think you're safe because you have stop losses, you're not. Everyone knows that here, exchanges, whatever. But some of you might trade margin. So just know that, like, your stop loss is not necessarily safe. It's not going to keep you safe in these tail risk events. So yeah, just trade carefully and make sure that your liquidation point is something that you're willing to sustain, even if you're using stop losses. Let's see, altcoins. Anyone? BNB? Fucking Binance. I guess we're doing pretty good too. We're at the top. We dropped less than everyone else relative to our own price action. And that's unsurprising. Monero tends to do well in these stupid crashes, and we're going to continue to do well in these stupid crashes. Just, I mean, better relatively, right? FTT dropping the most. Okay. Nothing interesting there otherwise. Ethereum, I guess, I don't know, still going to need some time, whatever. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin versus the stock market. I guess it fared about equally as well as the stock market did. Let's take a look at the stock market. Let's go into the macro here. Because of the way I have these lines drawn, but if you just, well, let's just do this. Can we get rid of those? Yeah. If you look at it just from this perspective, just the wave magic perspective, this is totally fine. Like, there's nothing wrong here. You're just still writing up these bands. Yes, you know, you got this little guy right there, but, and maybe it'll continue on Monday, right? Maybe there'll be another wipeout. Maybe everyone's thinking here, okay, that was the wipeout. It's just bullshit, time to get long, and maybe they need to liquidate everyone again, right? That could happen. I don't think this is the end, and the reason is that the rest of the macro looks fine. Like, gold continues to go up. Let's take a look at bonds. Bonds didn't do jack shit. Bonds are not telling us that anyone with real money, the institutions, are not scared, because if they were, bonds would be cratering right now. You would see the yield on bonds dropping, because here's what happens. Everyone flees to the safety of bonds, right? The guaranteed government bonds, right? Zero risk, except for like nuclear war or something, right? Or comet. Everyone flees into the safety of bonds, and then the bond market, when you buy a bond at a certain rate and you see all this influx of demand, then the people selling those bonds are like, hey, I don't want to give you a good rate anymore. I have demand. I'm going to lower my rates. And I don't have to pay you as much money on that interest rate. And so the interest rates drop as people buy bonds, right? So as bonds become more valuable, as people buy bonds, the interest rates fall. So that didn't happen. What does that tell you? No one's buying fucking bonds, right? No one is here buying bonds. So if they're not buying bonds and the stock market is going down, where's that money going? Doesn't go to money heaven, doesn't go to money hell, goes to money purgatory, and it just sits there and waits. So maybe some of it went into gold. Gold had a little bit of a drop off, you can see here, right? But again, nothing major, right? 3%, that's a fairly normal kind of move for gold. So that's just a pullback, and then it came back immediately, right? It immediately came back to the upside. And by the way, that drop was on Thursday. Gold actually rose as everything else was crashing. So it is acting like a safety play. People are really liking gold. We didn't see anything in the reverse repos. None of these, actually, I take that back. This might have spiked up on Friday. We won't get these numbers until Monday. So perhaps this did spike up. Sorry, I take that back. The dollar index, yeah, it spiked up, but this is not, when I say spiked up, I mean like look at the relative value into how this chart has moved. We could look at the Z-scores, and I'll tell you, this is not an out-of-trend movement here for the dollar to move up. So again, it's just one of these situations we're not seeing anything in the macro that looks concerning, that makes this look like a real macro crash. The only thing that does actually look like a real macro crash was oil. And, you know, I should have looked at my own indicator. I said it forever, you know, oil is our alpha. And what happened? We broke down out of our channel back last week, right? It broke down out of this channel last week. And I probably should have raised more of an eyebrow at that. I said, hey, you know, that is, you know, I said, hey, the only thing in the macro that looks suspicious is this guy right here of having broken down out of trend. And that's how we knew that the crash was coming in April. We said, hey, this is a breakout of the trend. And this is actually, right, this is bad news. And so we knew that something bad was about to happen. And sure enough, you know, we got the macro crash. So this one was a little bit more of a blip of a signal, right? This was harder to look at and say, hey, that's real, right? When you get a breakdown over here and you somewhere right around this area, you're starting to say, yeah, this is a real breakdown, right? This isn't just a fake out breakdown, right? It was harder to say that here. Again, my suspicion is that this is all going to reverse at some point pretty quickly. Maybe Trump will get out there and start talking a little bit less bellicose about China and tariffs and whatnot. I don't know. But this will probably reverse at some point. But yeah, I mean, if obviously with the tariffs, the fear is that no one's going to be shipping anything. And since oil, you know, diesel, boats, ships is, you know, since obviously all that runs on oil, oil tends to drop first. So yeah, we actually didn't get much signal here early on, which is kind of another reason why I think, hey, this is probably a limited macro crash. You know, it's not, it's like a micro crash. It's not even a mini crash. We'll have to wait for next week to see how that plays out, right? I'm kind of putting, kind of saying a lot of stuff here, and maybe it'll end up being true, or maybe it won't. But my intuition, I'm going to say like 80, 90%. This is just a liquidation wick. Maybe we'll see a slight bit more next week, but I think this is going to turn around at some point relatively quickly. So let's take a look at the some of the other macro stuff. We supposedly got some civilian unemployment numbers, but I don't know where they are, right? Because so let's go to here. It says October 2025. We should have got the employment situation last week, and I'm not seeing those numbers. So I don't know what the hell is up with this chart, or why they're not showing. Maybe this is spiking. If this is spiking, then I'm going to start to get a little bit more worried. I'll probably still think the bull market is still on. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if this spikes as the bull market continues, and then at some point something breaks. That's a lot of times that's how things happen. People are like, oh my God, it's going to collapse, and then it goes up, so they all look stupid, and then it continues going up, and no one listens to them when it's time for the real crash. So yeah, I guess we can look at the Z-scores on this guy. Anything special here? No. Crypto down, stocks down. Nah, everything looks fine here. Looks pretty normal. Liquidity situation, what's going on? These are slightly delayed numbers, so I'm not sure how much this matters. Nothing there to look at really. And then we'll close it off with the Monero hash rate and Monero transactions. So hash rate looks like it took a dip. Maybe this is Cubic coming in and out of the situation. I'm not quite sure there. And all of the transactions of all the coins, Litecoin, like we talked about, I don't believe them. Their transaction counts are not that high. Let's just go to Monero, get rid of all the. Why do we even have Dash? Oh my God, whatever, Dash. Yeah, your transactions went to 40K. Sure it did. It's kind of funny, guys, because like I look at these transactions in a lot of ways. I look at Monero and I say, hey, this is actually probably what genuine usage looks like. And then we see what these other coins do, and it's like, yeah, that's what fakery looks like. And I know that's kind of like prescriptively, there's like a fallacy in there, right? Of like, I don't know, believing your own bullshit or whatever, getting high on your own supply. So you know, you got to be careful not to take it too far. But I do kind of sometimes look at these other transaction counts and think, yeah, okay, guys, whatever. I don't believe you. Anyways, Monero transactions looking around 30,000 lately. 25 to 30. Yeah. So we've been centered around 25 for so long. Like every week, it's the same story. We were on the low side of that for a while. Now it looks like we're on the high side of that. Cool. Maybe we'll see more adoption. I mean, you know, bull markets are going to tend to see a little bit more adoption. So it would make sense for us to see a little bit more, to see this number going up, to cross that 30,000 threshold consistently. One could hope. But yeah, you know, I haven't really checked the questions here. Any of the YouTube or XMRchats.
Nicholas Van Saberhagen tipped $1.53. Zcash pumping would actually be good for Monero, as when Zcash eventually dumps, the people who actually care for the tech are going to learn about Monero and shift to it. Potentially. I think at this moment it's obvious that this isn't a broader, as Bawdy aptly pointed out, it's not really a broader like privacy like interest. It's mostly just Zcash like just pumping to the moon. I think it's benefited Monero a little bit, but not like that much. It's not like a pure privacy interest.
Yeah. Dash pumped a lot though too, right?
Yeah, there's another like Dash is another bullshit.
Like, but it's just speculation. Like I don't see it as people being genuinely interested in privacy en masse suddenly. Like I'm sure there's some of that, but it's very obviously like Zcash thing is very obviously not like people just want to buy privacy suddenly. So
they're just trying to fabricate some kind of reality into existence. And
I mean, listen, like when you go to PorcFest, almost everybody accepts Monero at this point. Dash has been there forever, but in reality, it's been dying off. It's like, you know, like the Dash stickers are like old on people's vending thing. Like people aren't running around. Like you had a few OGs that have Dash over there, but you don't see as much acceptance. Zcash, same thing. I never really saw it take off at PorcFest. I mean, maybe now next year, now that this thing pumped, sure, people will be like, yeah, I'll take some Zcash. But I think kind of PorcFest is like the great, like the best like indicator for understanding like which things cryptos are actually used. And Monero has the most organic adoption there.
Yeah, that's very, it's an astute observation. Like and it's kind of one of these things like, oh, that's an anecdotal fallacy, bro. Like, no, it's not. I've said this a lot before, but there is statistical power in anecdotes. If you assume that, hey, my experience is somewhere around the median, and for 87% of us, or 83%, I can't remember, 33. No, sorry, at least for 67% of us, our experience is the median, right? What we see is actually what's a representation of some larger picture. It's a sample of the real population, or at least it's somewhere close to the sample of real population. And so you're like, hey, it's maybe not a hugely, high power statistical inference, but it is still a valid statistical inference. And the simple fact is the freedom community across the world doesn't use Zcash. None of them use fucking Zcash. But Monero is actually quite adopted in many places.
Exactly.
That's all I got to say about that.
The cubic thing. Let me ask you something about it, because I still don't, I guess, understand this well enough. Now that we've seen what's happened, what is your overall take? Was ASICs part of the issue here? The fact that we are CPU mineable? Because people still see people kind of like putting that message out there that the cubic attack is an indication that, one CPU, one vote is a failed experiment. ASICs are necessary. My understanding is that that's not the case, right? This was an attack on the pools, and there was an incentive to pull miners into a pool by giving away a shitcoin. I get that that's a little harder to pull off if everybody's using ASICs, because they have more stake essentially into the system, so they don't want to see, the value of the network go down because they own a part of the network with their ASICs. But I fail to see that this means that one CPU, one vote is a failed experiment, and ASICs are the way to go. Curious what your take is there.
Yeah, so you're asking me if cubic happened because of CPUs?
I'm asking you, if the cubic attack is an indication that Monero's ASIC resistance is a flawed experiment.
Yeah, absolutely not. That's the people that say that don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they need to stop talking. This is a problem. Like we could have 10x the hash power, and this still would have happened, or it still could have happened. Hell, we could have even, and maybe I need to think more about this, but we could have even had a massive amount of P2 pool hash power, and this still could have happened. if hypothetically, depending on how much hash power that Cubic was able to put into, let's say, P2Pool. That might not quite be right. There's probably some like problems with that. But in general, no, this is nothing to do with CPUs. This is a proof of work problem. Like, this is a statistical proof of work problem that has been known about for literally over a decade. The first papers on this came out in 2013 about selfish mining. And if you want to bribe miners, if you want to bribe these miners to by overpaying them, then you're going to be able to collect hash power of a lot of different coins, of a lot of different ASICs. So it's kind of like the people that want to say, well, ASICs, are immune to this, or at least they're resistant to this. What you're saying is you're admitting that you have centralized hash power that's effectively proof of stake, where ASIC, the purchase of an ASIC, is the purchase of your stake. And that's literally what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is literally a proof of stake network. The stake is the ASIC. And so it's like, all right, like, but, and not only that, it's centralized, right? If Bitcoin or any of these other proof of work coins had a truly decentralized hashing network, then those hashers could point towards a malicious pool like Cubic because they're bribing them because they're being overpaid. This has absolutely nothing to do with CPUs. It has everything to do with the fact that Nakamoto consensus needs work, right? That there needs to be some kind of improvement on it. And I am like almost certain now at this point that information, theoretically, it can be improved, specifically, if nothing else, because of uncle blocks. Uncle blocks are a unit of information, a bit of information that are not leveraged. And so we can probably do something better than 50%. And then also we have time at our disposal, right? Information theory, again, if we use a very, very rough version of time for the difficulty algorithm. And so these are two different things that we can leverage to improve Nakamoto consensus. And we can do it probably in a way that doesn't sacrifice, doesn't have like critical trade-offs that make the network, that give us problems in other places. So yeah, this is not a CPU problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the misinformation campaign or propaganda campaign that's happening against Monero, right? And I'm seeing it come. It's disappointing seeing it come from some intelligent people like Uri Bednar, who I have the utmost respect for, hoping to get him on the show next week. But he like concluded that he put out a tweet like listing what he likes about Monero, what he likes about Zcash. And like what he doesn't like it about Monero and Zcash, vice versa. And like, on his list was the fact that, from Monero, we learned that you can't be ASIC resistant. I'm like, what? Like, come on, man. So it's becoming part of like the anti-Monero propaganda, right? So not only is Zcash, quote unquote, more private than Monero, but that it has ASICs and ASICs are essential. And like these things, a protocol like this can't achieve global adoption if going the route that Monero is going, which I think it's unfortunate to see that misinformation going out there, but that was all part of the Cubic attack. That is part of the attack.
They gleefully ignore the fact that Zcash has via BTC, which has had well over 50% of the hash rate for years.
Right. Like
maybe
that's
they
not a
aren't
problem.
An adversary like Cubic is, but it does almost seem like this Cubic attack is coordinated in such a way that it could then be used as propaganda against Monero for,
exactly.
Almost it does seem like it's against its, not ASICs, but proof of work in a way.
Yeah.
And it's being used to show people Zcash, which is ironic because we look at Zcash and you look at the distribution of blocks and it's terrible. It's awful. BTC gets 70% of the blocks. Yeah, nobody seems to care.
Right.
I don't know if I'm still. Yeah, I am.
I think that's one good point to make too, right? Like for those who are looking at Monero, Zcash, and they're like, oh, but it just seems like Zcash's tech is better. It's truly its privacy is everything is truly encrypted. It's not doesn't rely on ring signatures. Even full chain membership proofs won't be truly encrypted. I mean, these are right. Even if you're going to see it that way, the big thing to realize is there's so much more to Monero than just the privacy aspect, right? Number one, it's private by default, which Zcash is not. I don't know if they ever will be, but it's not. I doubt they ever will be because that's how they're getting away with integrating with centralized exchanges and whatnot. But there's all these other aspects, right, that we're ignoring. Like, it's not even being discussed much out there when we're talking about Zcash Monero. You know, the fact that Monero is ASIC resistant and it's constantly working towards maintaining that, right? It's having great success. Yes, we had Cubic, but, you know, it's one CPU, one vote. Major difference between Monero and Zcash, Monero and Bitcoin. It's, you know, has the dynamic blocks. Zcash does not have that. It has the tail emission. It, you know, it has its network level privacy. There are all these other differences that aren't even being considered when you look at these two projects. That should be something that's very much highlighted. So those that are like a little noobish and looking at these things and are like, oh, Zcash just seems better, they're not getting the full picture, not realizing these are ultimately two very different projects, and Monero has there's a lot of other aspects to it that make it unstoppable that need to be considered, and that Zcash just doesn't have.
You know, there's another facet to this whole like social thing happening. I mean, it's mostly bots, but there's real people out there too as well, and some of them even maybe, you know, kind of genuine. A few. The thing is that like I was fine to sort of be these like, you know, Zcash is out there and it's like, okay, I respect the tech and like they're doing some good work, and a lot of Zk their snarks have been integrated into other things, and okay, like, you know, I can be fine with that and be like, yeah, they're not very good money, but, you know, okay, sure, whatever. I'm not going to hate on them too much. I'm going to offer the technical criticisms and be like, well, this is why I don't think it's a good money. With what I've seen lately, it's like, all right, you know, like they're like, oh, Monero people are so toxic. It's like they're complaining about the toxicity, and we're like, wait, no, but we were just giving like some technical pushback. So if you guys want to be toxic, then like we can go to war. That's fine. Like we'll just expose
the whole like I am going to start tone policing the tone policing because it's just so annoying, and it's like some people are just incessant on complaining about like things that the Zcash community themselves have done before. Like they accuse Monero of something which Zcash community has done too, but they both do the same shit. This is how it is. This is how the internet works. And people complaining about this, it's so fucking retarded, and it's so annoying. On your
big boy pants, please.
It's like, just accept this is the way it is. And yeah, would it be nice if people were maybe more like technical and, you know, more reasoned in their responses? Sure, perhaps, but this is the way it is. Both communities do the same thing, and complaining about one in particular does absolutely nothing. It just makes you look pathetic, and it's really annoying.
And they're actually the reality is, yeah, we have some people in Monero that act that way, and that have been acting that way all the time. But like most of the Monero community is sitting here like, we'll give pushback on Zcash and be like, well, hey, no, here's why I don't like it. And they're like clutching at their pearls, Zcash, like, oh my God, how could you say such terrible things about us? And like, bro, like, and then they say these horrible things about Monero, and then they start lying. Like real people, like some of these guys are real people, and they're putting out real lies, and some of them actually have a technically sounding like orientation to the things that they're saying, and they're straight up fucking lies. And they're even worse because they sound smart. They say things that sound like technically correct, mathematically intelligent, whatever. Yeah. And so it's like, and then you see them lie about even basic stuff, and you're like, wait, no, like if you're lying about basic stuff, then none of your technical jargon can be trusted. And so it's like, all right, listen, guys, if that's how you want to be, then I'm going to go hard against y'all. I'm going to start pointing you out, and I'm going to start like with force showing like it, how can you put, revealing the social bullshit that you're engaged in, right? Because in a lot of cases, it's like at that point, I'm not here to even argue about Monero or Zcash. I'm here to show who you are, right? What are you doing? You pretended to be someone, and now you're not, right? I'm here to expose what you're actually doing. And if that's how you want to be, then you're going to lose this battle. Like I 100% guarantee it. Like we're experienced, we have more experience than you do at this point. Like don't go that way. Just keep it civil, guys. Or if you want to be assholes, then we can be bigger assholes than you. So.
All right, Bawdy, amazing as always. But let's keep it moving on. Can we get the special guest up here? Or is Tony looking to get? Tony's not even up here, right? Okay.
Do special guest.
Yeah, let's do special guest because he was supposed to go on at 12:30.
Awesome.
I assume K is special guest.
Thank you as always, Bawdy, and let's move on to the special guest.
Thank you, Bawdy. Appreciate it.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
Alrighty. Hello.
Oops.
Happy landing. Is that you, Kay?
Oh, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Testing. Can you hear me? Now you can test.
Pretty good.
1 2 1 2 test.
Perfect.
Takes me all back to my old concert promotion days. Testing. Hi. Great to meet you. Finally.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping on. Go if you want to give a little intro of yourself. Obviously, you don't need to reveal too much. Stay as anonymous as you'd like, but just so people know who we're talking to.
Well, I'm not Japanese, but I've been in Japan for more than 30 years, in the Tokyo area and now outside of the Tokyo area. And recently I discovered how many different kinds of creative housing there are available in Japan and around the world. And I'm putting that together with the properties I see available. And I'm thinking it's amazing, an amazing chance for anyone who wants to get out of America, Canada, or Europe to make the escape to Japan. This is a relative, it's a relatively safe country. And the only thing, let me talk about the bad points in the beginning, because I know there are a lot of probably anarcho-political fans out there, as I am, and a lot of people define freedom as the ability to do anything, except for hurting someone else. And I know there's a lot of people who smoke and take certain substances that are illegal in the United States and Canada and probably Europe. So that's one thing that you cannot do in Japan, because if you do, you'll be in jail. And you'll be in jail for a certain amount of time before they deport you. So it's not a good place. If that's your bliss, then Japan isn't your bliss. It's not your
that's important to know, right?
Yeah. For a lot of people, that's very important. And if I was in that mode, then it would be very important to me. But I'm not at this time. So.
But a lot of other aspects of the society are very liberated and free, right?
Actually, this is, I think, one of the few places I know that is not censoring their people, which is a big deal. It's a really big deal. We don't have any cops running around here arresting people for something they said on the internet 5 years ago, like they do in Australia or England, and getting to be in America now. So that's a really big thing. And that's freedom to me.
How about just the kind of the surveillance state? Obviously, China is very much a surveillance state. The U.S. Are you saying Japan, despite all its technology, perhaps is more respectful of people's privacy?
Oh, it's very respectful for people's privacy and property. Property rights are almost absolute. That's an amazing part of Japan. I think you may have heard about some of the old homes that get abandoned and are finally, after many, many years, a decade or more, probably several decades, go back to the government, who then takes charge of them and finds people to renovate them and buy them, or they rent them out. And that's called IKEA houses. You probably heard of that. Have you?
No, I really don't know much about that.
Okay, that's a whole other topic. But the reason these houses are abandoned, it could be the owner has passed away, or They don't want to pay the relatively small taxes on the property. Small taxes to the extent of maybe less than 10% of the property value. So the government does not have a right and does not confiscate anyone's property for back taxes. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it. Now, if someone owns millions of dollars, that might be different, but as on the average level, I've never heard of it. So they may come after you, and try to get you to pay, but as far as, and like I said, there may be an upper limit to this, but average people do not get their properties confiscated. In fact, I'm trying to think of anything that's confiscated in Japan. The tax thing is very, the tax protection of the government is very strong. And if they feel that you're withholding taxes, especially income taxes or company taxes, then they're going to go for you. They're going to go for you. And that's one of the reasons, strangely enough, it's one of the reasons there are very few NGOs in Japan. There are a few very well-respected MPOs that take a very long time to be established and to have that recognition. But NGOs are almost unheard of in Japan.
And then how about the crypto scene itself?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Monero has always been my first love. So I got involved with another crypto group in Tokyo area. Actually, it was a Bitcoin Cash group. And it's been wonderful because the people are very freedom. They're totally freedom people. And but it was, well, defined, I won't say restricted, but defined to be Bitcoin Cash only. I remember after the first 2 or 3 meetups, I went over to the leader and said, well, I really like to get some Monero. And he goes, well, this is a Bitcoin Cash meetup. So I just kind of gave it up. But it's been great. And
how did you become such a Monero person? I want to.
Just
like to
the idea of privacy, and knowing that first when people started coming around and talking about Bitcoin, they were saying, oh, everything's open, all of the transactions are transparent, and I thought, okay, that might not be such a good idea. So when Monero came into my view, I thought, that's what I want. That's exactly what I want. Why can't I get some of that? And this was before, well, I think I realized it around the time they had Bitcoin Cash vending machines, but I didn't know where they were. So I was looking on the internet, and by the time I heard Jeff talking about it, Jeff Burke talking about getting, cake wallets and logging into, what's the name? Trade Ogre.
Okay.
As soon as I got into Trade Ogre, they had this notice that came up on the screen. We're stopping to take Monero now. So there may be some time in the future we'll take it, but we're not taking it right now. And I thought, oh no, I can't even swap what I have for Monero. It was a sad day. But anyway, I finally got some Monero, and I'm happy with it.
I love it. Now, it's first of all just seeing your listing on XMR Bazaar. That was one of my top 10 XMR Bazaar moments. Like, wow, there's somebody in Japan that's selling property for Monero.
Yeah.
Is this real? And it is. You're a Monero loving person that's actually selling property for Monero. That's exciting to see. Now, is there, a community today that would, like a Monero community in Japan? Like, is there anything going on there with regards to Monero? I mean, I mean, because Monero, as far as I understand, isn't even listed on any centralized exchanges in Japan, right? It's been delisted, I believe, from all the centralized exchanges.
Yeah, a lot of the centralized exchanges have delisted it. Well, what I can say is about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a Japanese guy running a Monero meetup. And it seemed like there were very few people. I didn't go. And I was quite involved with the Bitcoin Cash group, which actually is really a great group. I've met Roger Ver there a couple of times. And like I said, the people are great, very freedom-loving people. But anyway, so that group seems to have disappeared, and there's no Monero meetup right now in Japan. I'm actually thinking of starting one. We'll see what happens, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Start small.
So, yeah.
So obviously, so legally, it's perfectly legal. It's kind of like here in New York, right? New York, Monero is not on any of the centralized exchanges, but it's perfectly legal to use Monero, to accept Monero for the sale of goods and services. That's the same situation in Japan, correct?
Right. It's absolutely not illegal. What else can I say? There are some people in Japan, like everywhere, that are afraid of anything anonymous. So I think there's a fair amount of people in Japan. I don't know the percentage that would be a little afraid of Monero, but I haven't really heard anything bad against it from anyone or from the news or anything.
Is there a strong cash culture in Japan, or it's,
very much?
Okay.
Very much. People really hate. A lot of people really hate this cash, credit card only, or what do they call it? Electronic money, and they call that credit cards. They've only just started in the last year or so to have a, denki money. Denki is electric. Checkouts at the supermarket, and a lot of people will use them and a lot of people won't, and I just refuse to use them. I know one supermarket I go to, they notice me in line, and they shift one of their cashiers over to the checkout stand. So that's good for me here. But a lot of people are very, on the other hand, they're very pro-electronic. They're very pro, oh, it's convenient, and I can do it with my hand. I can do it with my, I can pay with my phone. So it's, I don't know the percentage. I would say it's definitely half and half, and I think a lot of people are still on cash.
And did they also culturally like it because it's private, and they may want to sell things? Like is there, here in the U.S., right? You have a garage sale, you're accepting cash, right? You go to a farmer's market, everybody prefers cash. Did they prefer for those reasons as well, just because they don't want the government knowing every time they're making a transaction? They don't want everything to be a taxable event?
I think that some people are like that, but I think it's still a small portion of people who try to use Monero and other things to hide their purchases.
Well, just cash in general, though. Like, is it like
but cash? Definitely cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at is, do you think it's ripe for Monero adoption in Japan?
I think it is. I think it is because, in essence, privacy is very important, and there are some people who have followed the UN propaganda, and I have one neighbor that says, "Oh, I have no privacy anymore. I've thrown out privacy." And I said, "Oh, really?" He doesn't really understand, but he's a great guy. We're up here in the mountains, and he sets traps out, and he traps the wild boar sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and skins it, and everything. So I've got a lot of hand the guy a lot of credit for that.
That must be freaking delicious.
Yes. Well,
Japanese forest wild boar.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty much like regular pork. The ones I've tried.
The wild boar I had in Poland was really good. It was definitely a different. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't really, you don't really think, when you think of Japan, obviously you think of Tokyo, and obviously it has beautiful nature there, but that's you don't really, it's not the first thing that comes to mind. But so where you are, it's beautiful mountains and nature, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm so happy to be here, and that's part of it. I want to share my happiness with others. You should come here and live here too. You don't have to, but
beautiful quality
I
of
love
life.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. So I'm so glad that I got out of Tokyo.
What is the weather like where you are?
The weather is a little cooler. Tokyo and the bigger cities. It's just the temperature is changing now. Last week I had the air conditioner on, and this week I have the heater on. It changes that quickly. So it's always a little bit cooler up here, and we get snow, whereas Tokyo and the flatlands will not have snow. So, but it's only about 500 meters above sea level.
And a lot of sunny days.
Well, at different times, it's been quite sunny and it's been quite dry, but when the rainy season comes in, and I'll tell you, one of the downsides of Japan is people haven't really become aware of chemtrails yet. So this region where I am, it's also, when you go down on the flatlands, it's farmland, it's rice fields and other vegetables. And this is where they're spraying the chemtrails. And Japanese really haven't woken up to this. They spray them in Tokyo and Kanagawa area too. They spray them all over. But they just haven't had enough publicity about it to do something. And I hope to help that too, if possible.
Tell us about the land that you are selling.
Well, right now I have some little parcels, like I said, about 300 square meters, which is about 3,000 square feet, 3,200 square feet. So it's enough for probably an average house, small to average house with a front yard and a backyard. It's about that big, although American properties are much larger. They're 2 or 3 times as large. You might have 10,000 square feet in a total, rural suburb property. So, and there are different types of properties. Some are quite flat, some are rocky, and I have one that I think would be great for a tree house because it's full of trees and of different sizes, quite a few large ones. I'll have to go check it out and count them all, but I think it would be great. And
all these properties are in the same region of Japan?
They're in the mountain region right now, yes, because that's the area I live. And
these are properties that you own or that you're helping to sell on behalf?
Yes. Okay. A few of them are properties that I own myself. And then what I'll do, if someone wants something different, I will look on the Japanese market, and I will help to introduce them to a Japanese realtor. So we work together. I can work with Japanese realtors. And I also work on, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I also work on a consulting basis, and I can do research, different things I can provide. Find something for a finder's fee, or even just do promotion on a property. For instance, if someone wants to sell their property in the United States, Canada, or anywhere else, I can promote that here and arrange a buyer.
Oh, that's you should put that up as an additional listing.
Okay.
Offering your services, consulting services.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Even just for those people that want to move to Japan, right? Buy property and move to Japan.
Right, because they'll have to sell their property there.
Yeah.
Someone here might buy it. It's probably more likely they'll find an American buyer, but it could be a Japanese buyer.
Now I saw you had a house that was listed initially. So did that sell?
Right. Yes, the guy took care of it himself. So he had a buyer. But I was so enthusiastic when I found Monero Bazaar. I said, hey, why don't you list it over here? Let me list it for you. Maybe you'll find someone here. Because he had just had a cancellation on the property. So
it seemed great. Yeah, more of those
I know.
It seemed very reasonably priced. Is that?
Yeah.
That's the general market there?
Yeah. Well, I think it was an especially good deal. That's why I was really curious why it hadn't been sold. But they're usually around that price. Now, it won't be concrete structure. That's one thing that was a bonus for that property. But generally speaking, a brand new house built in this area can go for about, let me see, I think it would be around 120 million. I'm sorry, 120,000 in American money, which is quite reasonable for a brand new house.
Yeah, very reasonable.
And that is made to anti-earthquake specifications. So I think it's pretty good, but it's going to be small compared to America. It'll probably, less.
Yeah, so like these plots of land that you're selling, would you be able to build the house that, like, similar to the one that you had posted?
Yes, that property was, I believe, was a little bit larger. I think it was 400 square meters, but it was on a hill. In the back of that house, it goes up. There's a big slope, and a lot of the properties in the mountains are like that. So you need to have a builder that knows how to build on slopey land or a cliff. So.
But it must be beautiful and have beautiful views as well, I would imagine.
Well,
right?
Some of them do and some of them don't. So if you're, lucky to get a Fuji view property that adds on. I don't have any property with that right now. But yeah, they exist. And they're
It'd be good if
in this area they're quite reasonable. Because it's fairly far from Tokyo.
It would be good to see other pictures too, so people can understand. Like, so what the house would look like if you put it on these plots of land that you were selling.
Yes, I have that coming up on my website. I haven't quite finished it, but if you want to take a look, it's japanland.net, and
okay,
it should be coming up. Right.
Yeah.
And it has some examples of some modular and maybe, what do you call them, tiny houses, et cetera, And I'm trying to make another page of all of these different properties and the not mobile, but modular houses and tiny houses that you could put on them. And a lot of them are really beautiful. I'm so surprised. A friend of mine actually had a land basically leased to her. I think it was leased or given to her. This is down in the southern area of Japan. And she bought 2 small little houses, wooden type log house, not really logs, but wooden houses at the home center building. This is kind of like, what do you have there? I forgot the name, Lowe's or something. It's a lot of hardware and home things. And she bought them and she put them on this property. And one of them is the cookhouse and its table and everything. And the other property is the bedroom and the living room. And she did it for, let me see, how much were those? Those were like about 600,000 each, which means 1.2 million. And subtract about a third or a half. Maybe she did the whole thing for 80,000. It's less than that. I have to do this by hand. I think it was more like about $10,000. and she had this. Well, actually, it was in two separate houses, and so she had a house on incredible acres of land for that price. She did give it up and she came back to Tokyo to do DJing work. I hope you can understand DJing work. She's a DJ, and but it was an amazing thing. I've got to see if I have that picture somewhere, because it's just incredible what you can do with a limited budget. So I'm hoping to reach people in America who think, oh, we can't go overseas. It's just too much money, and the flight and everything. And actually, you can do it. You can actually do it.
What would the process be like for an American? You know, let's say somebody goes and they buy property with Monero from you. What's the process with, moving over to Japan and you're being a resident, or how long can you stay, or the process to stay?
Well, if say you bought a house online with Monero and you've never been here, you've got to come here first of all. So you have airfare. You've got to have airfare. And as an American and Canadian, and I think some places in Europe, you can get just a 3 months tourist visa as soon as you get into Japan through the airport. You don't have to go to a Japanese embassy in your country and get a visa. So that's very easy to get in. And then if you are buying an old house, you would have a house to live in. If you didn't have a house on only land, you need a place to stay. So you can rent, or you can buy one of these mobile homes, or modular homes, or do-it-yourself kits, or tiny houses. The one that was on my one of my page at XMR Bazaar was the new Tesla. What is it called? Tiny home at Tesla. And I think I commented that I wouldn't want to sleep on top of that lithium battery. So that's a bit of a risky home as far as I'm concerned, even though it's under $10,000. And I'm sure they could ship it to you in Japan. They probably have a Tesla dealer here. And you could probably get that set up to get you through the home building scenario, if you wanted to do that.
A user 58 is asking, is camping legal on your own land?
Of course. Yeah. This is, again, property privacy is utmost. And now most of the properties, not all of them, but most of the properties I have are in what we would call a mountain development. In other words, someone has come in and bought acres of land, then they divide it up into parcels, mostly of them around the same size, which is 300 square meters or 3,000 square feet, although some are bigger and double, and some might be a little smaller. Then that company, that development company, sets up an office, and they have a relatively small fee. It's about what is it, $1,000 a year? Could be a little more, or could it be a little less, or more if you have a big house on it. But I wouldn't compare them to a homeowners association, because they don't have any rules. You can build whatever you want on your own property. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. You can build whatever you want on your own property.
And that is amazing, because
is that cool? Is that cool?
That is very cool, because you can't do that here in New York, especially.
You don't have any homeowners associations say, oh, hey, your grass got above 10 inches. We're going to fine you. What was it? $1,200 a day. And the guy's on vacation. He comes back to like a $20,000 bill. It's insane. It's totally insane. So I think
you could be onto something here with Monero people opting out and moving to Japan.
Yeah, I think so.
What's the property tax situation over there?
It depends on your property. If you have just a small piece of land, Oh, I can't imagine it being more than, like, I don't know, a couple $100 a year. I'm not sure. I'll have to check it for the real small properties. But if you have, let's say you have, this is what I know most about. So you have an older house on a property about that big, um, and it's probably going to be around maybe $300 a year, something like that. Now, if it's a newer property, it will be more. If it's a bigger property, it will be more. And I think they have some other conditions about the land, and maybe if it's a view land or if it's by the sea or something could be more. Okay, and I'll have to check on these exactly and put the figures up or in a newsletter or something. There's a lot of information here that I have. Maybe almost a book course, but I will put them up on the internet so you can see.
No, so you mentioned getting you'd get a 3-month visa. You come in,
and that's renewable for at least one time, 2 times. If you say we bought a property here and we're trying to build a house, I mean, sure, I think you could stay at least, 9 months or a year, and as long as they know that you are self-supporting, and you're not getting into trouble, so, so I think you'd be fine. And again, if you have a 3-month visa and you extend it once, and maybe they're questionable about, well, we don't know if you're going to get another visa, then you just go out and come back in. Go over to Korea, or you go back home for a vacation and come back. Then you get another 3-month visa.
Now, how do longer term? If you're you want to stay longer term,
right?
How do you transition from there?
Okay, if you're not marrying a Japanese person, then I would suggest that you have a business, start a company, or what you can do if you're already in a company and are entrepreneurial, I would suggest you offer to make a branch of that company here, which is another way to kind of more of a working visa, business visa. So there's all kinds of things you can do. And after you're here 1 year, only 1 year, I think you need to have a visa and not a tourist visa. But let's say you have a working visa or you get a job. It's usually a 2-year contract on most kind of works. But if you're here 1 year and you can write and speak Japanese at a first grade level, that means a 6-year-old, you can apply for citizenship.
Wow.
I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities about being here, being more free, I think, than you are in America, and being able to stay here longer if you want to and if you like it. I would suggest to anyone, if they can afford it and they're thinking about buying a property, come here first and look around. We have a lot of other properties too. I don't really have, well, I can find them for you, but this is the area I know. I also know the area in between the Satami area and Tokyo that's called Kamakura. It's called Kanagawa area, Kanagawa Prefecture, and it has the famous city of Kamakura in it. So it's all very nice area, and also by the sea, and so.
So let's say I was interested, in before actually investing in a property. Like, okay, I'll go to Japan and check it out.
Yeah, and check it out. Absolutely. Then you know what you're getting into, and you might not like it. You might think, oh, I don't like this, and the people are uptight, and I don't like that, and don't buy a house. It would be better that way. Or yeah, rather than just coming cold. But people are different, and some people are really up for an adventure.
True. If I was coming for, it sounds like if you're trying to seriously consider, you might want to go there for a couple months. But if it's like, okay, I just want to go there for a couple weeks, what do you think that would look like? Because obviously a couple weeks, I don't know if you could. I mean, maybe you could rent somewhere to stay for a few weeks, but
there's
imagine
Airbnb here.
Okay.
They have a lot of Airbnbs, and of different types. You might wind up in a room in someone's apartment in Tokyo, or you might wind up in quite a luxurious house out in this area or another area. Depends on how much you want to spend. But for 2 weeks, I would say, if you're thinking of living here, then definitely go out and look around at places, look around at homes, at land. Don't just be stuck in Tokyo.
Yep, for sure. And that's probably the most expensive place you could be in Japan, I imagine.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the prices I'm dealing with here, there's no way you get that kind of land in Tokyo. For a house, it's maybe 10 times as expensive.
And that house you had up on XMR Bazaar previously, was that one sold? I'm guessing it probably was sold like not for Monero.
No, it wasn't. The guy that had the house for sale, I said, look, put it over here on Monero, and they might, I don't have Monero. I want Bitcoin. I said, okay, well, I'll change it for you. We can change it. Don't worry about it. Just try to advertise it here. It looks really great.
I'm not gonna lie, it was
that's my idea.
Never been to Japan, but seeing that, I was like, that's kind of like approachable, and kind of tempting in a way. And I'm sure Doug thought the exact same thing. And
my God!
For Monero as well, that's amazing.
To grab that for Monero and have your little vacation house in Japan. I mean,
but mind you, there wasn't a lot of closet space there. It's more. I would think it would be more like a weekend home or a rental. I would want more closets. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Just the idea, though, being able to get a
it looked
house
nice.
Like that.
It looked great. Yeah, I loved it. I walked in and wow, I love it.
I guess Japanese properties in general, like homes, are probably typically a lot smaller than your average mid-size family.
Yeah,
home
the average house, the one I'm thinking of that would be a new house that you could build around here in this area for about 120, 150 for sure, would be about 80 square meters. I think that's about, it's about, I guess, 1,000 square feet, 900 or 1,000 square feet. So it's not really huge. And that's probably on a land that's, you can put it up here too. But the ones that are down on the flat area, usually the land is about half the size, 150 square meters. So that would be about 1,500 square feet. So it depends on where you want to put it. You get a better deal up in the mountains. See, now, the way I grew up, and I spent some time in LA in the Hollywood Hills, I mean, that area is more expensive than the flatlands, right? Up in the hills, wow, And here and unless you have some really elite properties, and I've seen those, but your average house up in the hill is usually less expensive than it is down on the flatlands. And that's another thing that makes me think, wait a minute, these places are underpriced. But that's my opinion, not financial advice, as they say. So, yeah, I think they're a great deal. I really do. Especially getting a newer one, then you don't have to worry about repairs. If you do buy an older house, around 50,000, maybe 40,000 even, you're going to have repairs. 30 or 40-year-old houses tend to need some repairs. 40-year-olds and up, 40-year-old house, 50-year-old, you're going to have repairs, and major ones. So, but it's something you can move into and then use that to stay while you're building your house, and then move out and sell it. So that's possible.
Fantastic.
No,
this is
so many
like
possibilities.
Yeah, this is very exciting. It's it's real, right? You could go on XMR Bazaar today. You can use Monero. You could buy land in Japan, and you could start living over there. You start camping out on your land, build a little home.
Yeah, I would myself. Now the Japanese are very private, and I think you probably have an idea of how Chinese houses are, Japanese houses, and a lot of them have they have concrete walls or brick walls all the way around their property. Okay, and in my opinion, if I was to just camp on my property, I would put up some kind of wall or a lot of shrubs, and it just, you want more privacy too. And, people going by and looking, there would be very few people going by and looking, but, I would be a little more private.
And you also want to acclimate to the cult. You want to acclimate to the culture, right? Like you're coming to this country. It seems to be very, liberating in many ways, but you want to be respectful of the cultures and customs as well of a country, right?
Well, I spent like 20 years in Tokyo. So for me to come out here and have the privacy I have among a group of Japanese who, just really give me privacy and respect when we meet each other. And I love it. It's not the crowded of Tokyo, and it's not people, always smaller neighborhoods and concerned about your neighbors. So sorry if that's not clear. I'm getting a little groggy.
No, you're great. No. And, obviously I wasn't sure who to expect, who was going to come out. You never know who the person is on the other end of Monero when you're talking to an Anon. So I'm glad you're a real person who's actually into Monero. You've actually been living in Japan for 30 years. This is all very cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for jumping on. Obviously, you're welcome to come on the show anytime if you want to give us an update on things.
Let me do it when I get the website up.
Okay. And anything we can do to help you grow Monero in Japan, we're more, we could help. We could perhaps help in ways. I
have a question. Do you think there are any? You don't know if they're Japanese or not. Any Japanese in your audience? Have you ever had any communication from people in Japan?
Not really. Not that I know of. Okay. Yeah.
Where are you now? You're in New York City?
I'm in New York, Queens.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Not exactly, Freedom Town, but
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But I'm born and raised here. I have deep roots here, a lot of family, so it's not that easy for me to pick up. And
family, that's a big thing. That's a big deal.
I have strong roots.
You have to get a big house so they all can come and visit.
Yes, exactly. A couple of pieces of land. Yeah. So thank you again. I think we'll leave it here. Is there any other information you want to put out there? Anything you want to?
Getting a little sleepy. It's about 2:30 a.m. here. So.
Oh wow! You got to drink that green tea, right? That's another thing too. I mean, the quality of life,
green
right?
Tea,
The food must be like the food quality and everything must be so great over there as well, right?
Well, if you go for the organic, yes, and if you grow your own, yes, but let's face it. It's a regular society, and Japanese, like Americans, eat a lot of junk food. They eat a lot of instant ramen and a lot of obento and rice balls with little bits of stuff in them. There's a lot of junk food here, a lot.
But I would imagine even that is less poison than our junk food. I don't really know much about it over there in Japan.
I'm not sure. I think it's a competitor, but I'm not sure which one is the winner.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. Like I said, if any last bits of information you want to put out there before we close it out.
No, you can just take a look at the website. I think I said it's japanland.net. and it will be improved, I promise, over the next week or two or more. Ongoing
All
work
right.
in progress. So thank you very much for having me. It's been great.
Yes, thank you so much, and hope to see you on here again, and hope to see you keep using XMR Bazaar, adding more listings.
Yes.
Like I said, I think you definitely put up your consulting services. Some people might contact you just for that.
That's a good idea. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll leave it at
Thank
that.
you very much.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Good night.
Oh, you're free to stick around, by the way. I know it's late for you, but you're free to stick around because we're going to bring people up. But it sounds like you're ready to close out. No worries.
Yeah, I'll be listening to it and
okay.
moseying on to bed. Okay.
Okay. Tux, let's go ahead. Sounds good. Tux, let's go ahead and move on, and we'll do the news. Bring up Tony.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate the conversation.
Let's do it.
All right, moving on to the news segment with Tony.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
Tony.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Up? Doing good, man. Doing good. Enjoying the craziness, as always.
Oh, this week has been interesting. I'm also hearing, by the way, a bit of censorship resistance scream.
Oh my god. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's cool. It's funny.
She's so freaking cute. I wish I could bring her up here, but I want to maintain her privacy.
For sure, yeah.
Let me.
I think she's been seeing the Zcash tweets.
I know she's all pissed off.
So she's pissed off.
She's like, "Daddy, we could have been rich. Why are you a Monero guy, Daddy?"
That's funny. Hey, I mean, this is a nice VIP opportunity, so
yeah,
it's very nice.
No, Monero's doing just fine. Obviously, it'd be nice if it was pumping more. I just wanted to bring this up real quick.
Yep.
This is one of my recent purchases on XMR Bazaar, a Monero ashtray.
Oh, that's cool.
I will say, as advertised, very nice quality, beautiful, does the job, has a nice little cushiony bottom, so it slides across the table. So yeah, I recommend this seller. This was Monero Wana, I believe his name is. What's his name? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've seen him around.
Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. We don't need to be showing all that, but appreciate the ashtray.
That's pretty sick.
By the way, remember, anybody who's selling on XMR Bazaar is responsible for following the laws in their jurisdiction.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Tony, go ahead. Take it away with the news, man.
All right, guys. So let's get into it. And also, leave a like, comment, share. That helps a lot. And if you have any news link that you guys want us to go over, then I'm also watching the chat. And I can open it. And since we had the guest mentioning JapanLand.net, I decided to bring it up and show it to you guys a little bit. It's super cool. So again, if you ever thought about living in Japan, this is the website. Very beautiful. And the fact that you can do it for Monero as well, it's just awesome. So the payment includes Monero, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, and other ones. So not just Monero. And yeah, it's very beautiful. The website is under construction, more to come. 100% behind an advocate group. Yeah, but this is pretty cool. It's super awesome. And I would love more services like this, actually, in different parts of the world where people help you if you want to move somewhere else. If you're from Europe or America and you're trying to move to Asia, it's a pretty big change. So having somebody guide you through it and things like that helps a lot. Now, also, I wanted to bring up, because this is just freaking nuts, looking at this Zcash and how it went in September from 63 or 50, and then it just exploded to 271. That's just insane. That's crazy. Okay, and then, so I did see Naval post just a couple minutes ago, actually, this post, and it's beautifully written. So he said, crypto is desperate gamblers chasing their first bag, investors funding the build out of the global casino, bankers hypnotizing the masses to collect their VIG, all meaningless and ephemeral without the cyberpunks who defend the dream of encrypted and unstoppable cash, which is Monero. So I think this is an awesome post, and he just posted it a couple minutes ago. Now, moving on. So this one is from Reddit, and somebody posted his MiningPoolStats hiding Monero privacy coin. And if we take a look right here with Litecoin, rank number 4, 7 billion, followed by Ethereum Classic at 2.3 billion, and then Monero at 5 billion, but it's should be in the middle of those, but it's not. And actually, let's check it out. Let's actually go on the website, because I didn't. So MiningPoolStats. Okay, let's check it out. Okay. Yep, there's no Monero. There must be Zcash. There we go. We do have Zcash.
Yeah, I noticed this the other day. Are they getting paid to hide Monero? There's no reason it shouldn't be up there.
Yeah. It's so weird. Dogecoin, Caspa, Conflux, but Wimble, but there's no Monero. That's crazy. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. It's probably on purpose. Then somebody posted an XMR sticker found in Berlin. I was in a Berlin class trip, and look what I found, Monero. So you guys can, if you want, you guys can buy stickers from XMR Bazaar. They're pretty cheap, and you can buy a bunch of them. And if you go somewhere else or in your city, just stick a couple in some areas, in some good areas, and spread the word. I've seen somebody stick one on a trash can, so that's gonna be very visible. A lot of people will stop by it. So that is pretty cool.
And I'll know if it's real or if you're just doing a copied image, because I have pretty much every single Monero sticker image that has ever been posted online.
Oh, really?
Just about.
Okay, that's cool. Well, yeah, I don't know.
It was for the edit I did a while ago.
Wow, that's crazy. That's funny. Yeah, I hope it's real. I hope it's fresh. Well, it doesn't look fresh actually. So I don't know.
Which points to it more being real. It's like, oh, it's probably been there for a while.
Right. Yeah. Then moving on. So as you guys have seen yesterday, crypto went down a lot. Stocks, everything. It's been hectic, and very good opportunities to buy at cheaper prices, or if you knew beforehand, like some people, to actually short the market and make money from that too. But you need beforehand information to do things like that. And Jacob King posted on X, crypto is a rigged casino, and today's events prove it beyond doubt. A single colossal Bitcoin whale shorted at the peak, then just minutes before the market shattering crash, pile on millions more in shorts. At the very bottom of the drop, he closed 90% of his Bitcoin short and completely exited his Ethereum short, pocketing roughly 190 to 200 million in a single day. That's mad. That's just crazy. That's the only instance we can trace, but speculation is rampant that a scale was far larger and extended across other exchanges. Don't be naive. This was luck. Someone was either manipulating the market or front-running it. Either way, the collapse was engineered, and investors have every reason to be alarmed. But things like this happen all the time. They make excuses, news, all kinds of stuff, so that they can drive price faster to certain points of interest, and then they can just scoop it up and then go up again. And obviously, if you know beforehand, then you can short the market, make money as it's going down, and then buy it. Get your timing and buy it at the bottom, and then enjoy those gains too. But that's a lot of money. Somebody made a lot of money. Somebody's having a great weekend right now. And also, shout out to this guy for opening a $330 million short position on Ethereum minutes before Trump announced more tariffs on China. Let the corruption live on. Yeah, so it happened in Ethereum, happened in Bitcoin, just massive amounts of money moved. And well, I guess next time you look for these positions, and then you can try to position yourself with a little bit of your portfolio. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how these things happen. It makes me think of when Trump posted on Truth Social that, hey, it's a good time to buy now after it all went down, and then everything went up a lot. That was just, yeah, market manipulation right there. Then Roger Ver. So this post is from Agorist, and he wrote on X. He hired accountants and lawyers to pay the IRS the correct amount of extortion, but they came back over a decade later and said it wasn't enough. At least he is free. And it's kind of funny, when I was looking for an article about Roger Ver, every single one of them had this kind of like similar titles: Bitcoin Jesus, Bitcoin Jesus, Bitcoin Jesus. So yeah, Bitcoin Jesus is now free, as I have read. So Bitcoin Jesus to settle US tax fraud charges, New York Times. Roger Ver is reportedly close to settlement with the US Department of Justice over criminal fraud and tax charges filed last year. He's been in the space for a long time. So he's often known as Bitcoin Jesus due to his early evangelization for the crypto. Ver was indicated last April and arrested in Spain on allegations he failed to file tax returns on capital gains he made after selling tens of thousands, unquote, of Bitcoins and giving up. I forgot that he gave up his US citizenship too. The DOJ charged at the time. Ver fought his extradition to the US, filing a lawsuit earlier this summer, and now he has to pay $48 million for the taxes he allegedly owes. It has not yet been filed to or approved by the federal judge overseeing the case. But that is an update on Roger Ver.
That's it's just insane. Absolutely
it is insane. Yeah, it was sad when we were talking about it last year.
There is nothing you can do. You can move away, you can expatriate yourself. They will still come after you for things after the fact.
Yeah. He gave up his she literally gave up his citizenship, moved, whatever, and then they'll find a way. Yeah, when it comes to that much money, they definitely want your money. And it's kind of funny in a way, because what is 48 million to the US government? It's just the gum on the bottom of the shoe. It's not much at all. And that kind of reminds me also, we talked about this on the show. You can actually go and donate to the US government and help with the debt. God, who will do that?
They take Venmo, right?
Yeah. That mean he probably has sold over 100 to 150 million on US territory. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I guess he's free, or it's in the works to be free. It needs to be settled to pay the 48 million. Now this one is from XMR, from Monero itself on X. Our generous community has recently funded a proposal for EVM atomic swaps development. This proposal aims at developing a decentralized web application dApp to serve as a front end for the atomic swap smart contract. The web application will only require a web browser with an EIP 1193 compatible wallet such as MetaMask, and will allow the users to interact with any Monero swap contract. Thanks to everyone that donated. And yeah, thank you guys for donating. We're just getting so much founded, and we talked about how many millions of dollars has been donated to projects over the years in Monero, and it's awesome. I think the number was 10 million over the past just couple of years. So that's a lot of money, and you can see, because Monero is just getting better and more development and more crazy things coming up, as you can see from the guests that come up on the show and talk about these things. So it's awesome. And if you guys see a proposal, then donate. That's one way that you can help and contribute, because some people ask sometimes, how can I contribute to Monero? Well, you can donate. That's one way, or offer your services, or offer your skill. Are you guys sometime reviewing the CCS happening? What do you mean? Sometimes we go over CCS proposals, yeah, just to go over them. Now Odysee built their own blockchain, but can't install XMRChat. They spent 23 to 24 migrating blockchains and building AI trading bots, yet somehow couldn't spare a weekend to integrate Monero payment support that darknet markets implemented in a week back in 19. And then let's go a little bit on this post, like showing proposal weekly or something. I sometimes do. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things happening, and then when I see something, then I do show it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Odysee spent 2023, 2024 migrating blockchains and building AI trading bots, blah, blah, but they couldn't integrate Monero payment support. Then we have this image. Privacy is hard. I love KYC. Stripe survivor. And also this article, which I'm not going to go through all of it, but I recommend you guys do. It's on sambent.com. And then he has a bunch of articles. And this guy is also a creator on Odysee as well. And he talked about how numerous times he tried to tell the Odysee team through comments that they should implement XMR. So he's actively trying to get them to get at XMR. But yeah, I don't know. They're just not doing it, which I don't know if... I hope it's in their priority. Hopefully they're going to do it sometime soon or eventually, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't that kept up on it, but it is... I guess they're just doing their own separate blockchains instead of just using, tried and true.
Yeah.
I think there serves a specific purpose on the platform that Monero might not be inherently compatible with. But come on, just integrated, like Odysee is a victim of payment services deplatforming them. They should just implement Monero as a way to tip the creators, which would be incredible.
Yes.
That'd be so easy. It's so easy to tip your creator.
Yep. Like, you gotta think, why is Odysee existing in the first place? And then you try to support projects that, have the same mission as you. But yeah. And then talking about adding XMR, Thorchain wants to add XMR, but they need help. Can we have a AMM DEX for Monero, please? I'll donate to any CCS for this. It will discredit their own shitcoin, I think. Yeah, probably. But hey, I mean, they can do both. And then let the people decide and see what works best. But I don't know if they're interested. And then Doug replied to this post about Thorchain. We tried to push this years ago. We even had Thor involved in the first Monerotopia conference. And so no excuses now. We must make this happen. It will greatly benefit Thor and Monero, and it will. So I hope this gets done too. And then, let's see, moving on. This one is from John Foss. I recommend you guys follow John Foss. He has a lot of just interesting posts, and then he also has the Monero Moon newsletter with a bunch of news, a bunch of things getting developed every week. So I highly recommend you guys follow him. And this is the reason why he uses Trust and holds Monero. And this is a thread for the privacy coins, curious, and anyone wondering what really sets XMR apart from other coins. And it's awesome for newcomers and people that don't know much about Monero. So Monero is actually used by people who need privacy, anyone or who respects privacy and thinks privacy is important. Not that you just want to hide, that you want to hide from the world or whatever. No, you need privacy. That's why you have walls in your house, and then it's not just glass, because you want to have privacy, and it's normal. And anyone who values financial privacy rely on it to protect their transaction and identities. Is private by default, not opt-in like Zcash. That's why darknet markets, journalists, activists, etc. use it. And they can trust it with their life, because sometimes you're a journalist or activist from a certain area, and you definitely want to get paid for your work, and you want to do it anonymously so that your malicious government doesn't know that you're getting paid, or, you just want to stay anonymous. And Monero enables that. And just like Bitcoin in its early days, Monero started on the fringes. Early Bitcoin users were cyberpunks, hobbyists, libertarians, and some darknet market traders. That didn't make Bitcoin bad. It proved the tech worked. Monero is walking the same path now, And then if you guys seen this Bitcoin Magazine 2012 issue released, and it says, the corrupt fear us, the honest support us, the heroic join us, which 10 years later, 12 years later, that the heroic joining us means BlackRock and the US government and other organizations. It's crazy the way things evolved. And most people promoting cryptocurrencies or meme coins on X today aren't cypherpunks. They're speculators chasing profits. Monero's community has always been the opposite. The old joke goes, don't buy Monero unless you have a use for it. Cryptocurrencies are harmful to the banking system and may weaken the state apparatus. So don't buy Monero unless you want to be part of it. And yeah, so Monero doesn't have a CEO, anonymous founders, never took a dev fee, all these things that you guys know about. So if you want to look into this post, if you're new, then I highly recommend you go and follow John Foss and look over it. And also over the past year, Monero processed roughly 180 more private transactions at Zcash's shielded pool. And then Zcash's shielded pool. For every one private Zcash transaction, there are 150 to 200 Monero transactions achieving full on-chain privacy. So yeah, it's an awesome post, and you guys should definitely check it out. From John Foss. Now, this one is big, and I'm sad about it, but then, so essentially my Monero is going to cease from existing, and then the users are going to be encouraged to migrate to Cake Wallet. My Monero has been around for a long time, and it's sad to see them go. But then Fluffy Pony posted this on Reddit, and he said that somebody said, we miss you around here, Monero, all these things. And then Fluffy Pony responded with, no, not at all, just tackling other things that benefit Monero. Plus, now that Cake is best positioned to provide an amazing wallet experience for Monero users, I no longer really need to keep the lights on at my Monero and can focus more of my time in ways that are more useful. So it's still sad because they've been along for a long time, and it's sad to see them go. But Fluffy Pony is doing it for good reasons, to move on and to have more time for other things. And he's still very much active in the Monero community. So,
yeah, I mean, my Monero has, it's been one of the first mobile Monero wallets, and it kind of paved the way for Monero being on mobile platforms, and I guess to a degree being more accessible because it is a light wallet. Although I think that's a big reason why a lot of people didn't end up using it, because of the inherent potential privacy downsides. So yeah, a little bit sad to see, but also it hasn't really been well maintained for quite a while now. So it is time to move on. But hopefully after the next hard fork, we will actually have light wallet support, because we can do it in a way that respects your privacy a lot more than the current setup requiring you to give you the server your private view keys. So
awesome. Now, NanoGPT. So these are the September payment statistics, and it looks like Monero is dominating with 42.76%, followed by XNO at 22%, Bitcoin 16%. Then we have Litecoin, Ethereum, Lightning at 1%, other Zcash at 1%. So Monero is dominating in NanoGPT, and then also in August as well, they were dominating, 36%, and then followed by XNO at 31%. So, wow. And this month we have 42%, and then they have 22%. So I wonder what the stats are going to be in October. That's cool. Then Erik posted this one. It's from a Zcasher. So he said, I have 74 followers, and I make posts about Zcash, and it gets 2,700 impressions in 8 hours, while this community runs deeper than I thought. And somebody said, you and the other bots. That's funny. Yeah.
Wait, was this like a troll post? I don't get it.
I don't know.
2,700 impressions is like nothing.
Yeah, it's not that much. It's crazy how much attention you can get. Sometimes people show me stuff from TikTok, and then they're doing dumb stuff, and They have 500,000 likes for those dumb stuff. Not even views, just likes. People actually pressing the like button, and it's stupid dumb stuff. It's crazy how much attention you can get online nowadays. It's just crazy. Now, let's go over some charts from Untraceable. And if you don't follow Untraceable, please go ahead. True OG in the space. And this chart is awesome. So these are private assets by market cap. So Monero, Samurai, Whirlpool, Tornado Cash, Shielded Zcash, Zeno, Railgun Dash, Parachain, MWE Web, MWeb, Litecoin, Beam, Tari, Ashigaru, Whirlpool, Fire, Grin, Shielded, PivX, PIVX. I never heard of that, sorry. So there we go. Monero is number one, obviously, at almost 6 billion. And then second is Samurai, Whirlpool at almost 1 billion, 836 million. Tornado Cash is third, 810. And then it keeps going down. Then for Zcash, we have Shielded Zcash, 608 million, but Monero is dominating the market by private assets because it's all private assets. It's all just privacy. Yeah, let's give this a like. Somebody said as well, I really like this metric. Yeah, that's awesome. If you like something, always like, guys. Always retweet, always support. That helps a lot. Then we talked about the digital ID 2 weeks ago and about how UK is trying to roll it as fast as possible. It's scary, honestly, especially the way he talked about it. It's mandatory. It's free for you guys. We made it free. You're welcome. Now go get it, because then if you don't, then you're just not going to be able to do anything. You can't even go to work. So make sure you go get it. But these are 17 countries that have rolled out or passed digital ID laws in the last 3 months. EU is working on it. Not every single country in the EU, I assume, just some. UK, Laos, China, Taiwan, Mexico, Zambia, Canada, Ethiopia, Thailand, Vietnam, Australia, Costa Rica, Switzerland. Switzerland? Really? Huh. I gotta look into that one. And Papua New Guinea. Probably just a coincidence, I'm sure. Somebody said they live in Beijing and haven't heard about this. Well, yeah. So out on bad digital IDs. Yep. These things it's pretty scary because it's just communism, but it's digitalized essentially. Because we had stuff like that during communism. You had your bread tickets. For us Eastern Europeans, I mean, you had to have your address and your ID and how much bread are you allowed to get? Are you allowed to get a kilogram, half a kilogram? What kind of bread, white, all this stuff. It's scary stuff. But for positive news, today we launched Live Now. This is from XMRChat. Content creators with live streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble will be featured on the XMRChat homepage. And we've embedded a live stream video on tip pages so fans can watch and tip from one convenient spot. So XMRChat is freaking awesome. It's awesome stuff. And then I haven't been much on X, but I just saw this and I think it's so cool. Cake Paddle, where people go and play paddle, and it's from Cake. So it's pretty cool. And this is a post from Cake Paddle. It's saying the second Cake Paddle tournament is currently being played, both in men's and women's categories, where on the world's first crypto court. You can increase tomorrow's prize for the champions in our pinned tweet in any crypto, XMR, Bitcoin, Litecoin. That's awesome. That's in Formosa, Argentina. And I hope that we're going to get more of these around the world. It's super awesome. Mexico, no. Yeah, it's going to come to all of us eventually. And let's see, guys. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. If you guys have any links that you guys want me to cover or talk about, you can share. But if not, that's it for this week. We had quite a bit of things going on, quite of interesting things. And I'm curious what's going to happen on Monday actually with the market, and if we're going to stay a little bit in that low areas or we're just going to bounce and then go up again. And this was just an opportunity to buy a dip and for people to massively short and then just massively buy.
And insider trade.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm
yeah, the
definitely
whole
gonna watch
tariffs
next
thing is just it's a cover up for the coordinated market dumping.
Yeah.
And then the institutions quickly buy everything back up after triggering everybody's stop losses with cascading effects.
Yeah. That's why I think the stock market is so interesting. And then I've been noticing, for example, before Iran and Israel bombed the crap out of each other, I was looking at a certain area in oil that I found interesting, and I think the big guys found interesting too. And it's funny how, and it was kind of far away, but then all of a sudden they start bombarding each other. It shoots up directly at that price, around $70-something. They probably collect some orders and they just drop it all down because then they stopped. And then we have the Gaza ceasefire this week as well, which I think that's just a quick breather. They're not going to stop with what they're doing in Gaza.
Ceasefire. I do have a couple super chats I want to run up real quick. Just to, I don't know if I missed these or not. UTXO tipped $3. The reason the employment numbers didn't come out is the government shutdown. Only the most satanic parts of the government, such as the TSA, are working. Of course.
Yeah, I kind of need those things, and it's kind of funny. So are the people behind the unemployment numbers unemployed right now? Kind of.
Hey, man, you don't have to take your shoes off at the airport. Remember, this is the golden age of travel. Okay, so be thankful for what you get. Nicholas Van Saberhagen tipped $1.10. The Zcash community does not even recommend to its users to run a node, which would harm users' privacy. As far as I know, they don't have DNI++ like Monero. I don't know about the node situation. So I can't really speak to that, but thank you for your chat, good sir. And yes, DNI++ is a great feature of Monero that was originally designed to be used with Bitcoin, but Monero adopted it, so... But yeah, anyways, with that being said, thanks so much for doing the news, Tony. I think we can go ahead and move into the viewers on stage segment. I'll be posting the StreamYard link in the chat. If you want to come up and talk about something that happened tonight on the show, talk about something within Monero, feel free to do that.
Come on down, come on up.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, Tony. Fantastic job.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
The Monerotopia viewers on stage segment is sponsored by XMR Bar. Play dice with Monero using a privacy-respecting and provably fair algorithm. Go to XMR.bar. As always, verify and never trust.
Please gamble responsibly in accordance with the laws of your jurisdiction.
All right, we have...
Alrighty. Who we got?
AK9.
Good morning, gents.
What's up, man?
It's been another amazing week. God has blessed us all, hasn't he?
Very true.
Always.
And Trump has blessed me with getting some of my long positions closed.
I decided to do an experiment to see how, what the quality of the Zcash bots are. And so I made a post that oh, Dell wanted to say hi to everybody. She loves Tux.
I was like, what was that? Hello.
Yeah, Dell's Tux's biggest fan. I don't know if you know that or not. My daughter thinks that here.
I'm a turtle.
Yeah, she's a turtle and he's a penguin. And she decided I'm a fox today, or a wolf today. So, but I did a little experiment to see what would happen if I made a sardonic post about Zcash to see if the bots started rolling in. And we'll see what happens, but it just dawned on me a couple of minutes ago. But it's basically calling it an after curve. Yes, they get it. You're a turtle. I wanted to see if if the bots could read between the lines on basically calling it a corporate coin and all of that. Just because it would be impossible for a regular human to think that I'm actually saying that Zcash is good, but a bot would probably have a challenge with it. So I want to see if by the end of the day, I get more impressions on that than I would normally get, and we'll see what happens. But a lot of people seem to be having that situation where they say something about Zcash that could be construed as positive, and then they just get a bajillion likes on the post.
Yes, I've seen that. I think we even had that in the news.
Yeah, while
people
talking
who
about
barely
bots,
have any followers.
A bot literally replied to one of my posts saying how Monero mixes the addresses and it's still traceable, and how Zcash world, the addresses are blind and anonymous. Not even close. Like, I don't know if it's just like because I live within the Monero echo chamber, but I don't see these kinds of accounts on the Monero side. Like, I see literal bot accounts promoting, like, I'm pretty sure this is not a real person. That's just all day long commenting and posting and retweeting Zcash related content, and it's like super just low tier, low vibrational, very educated slop. Very forced.
We need that in Monero.
Oh, someone needs to spin up a Monero propaganda farm.
I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember like when dead internet theory first came out.
No, but I do know what it is, and it is very real.
It's just weird because it seems so crazy, like 10, well, probably 12 years ago now, and it's like clearly true now.
Yeah, it really is, and I think it's becoming harder to discern, but sometimes it's still incredibly obvious.
Yeah, like we're in a weird situation where the bots are like, to people who kind of grew up on the internet, it's pretty obvious when it's a bot still, but they're just getting better and better. But I think all of us who kind of live in this space, we're used to like, boomer uncle showing us on Facebook, like, look, isn't this crazy? And it's like clearly AI slop and they have no idea. And it's just like, oh man, the bots and the AI can already get like almost any normie, no problem. And like even these major corporate websites, I mean, I even have them on my company websites and stuff. It's like AI generated slop is like a picture for your advertisement, and people just eat it up anyway because that's just how it is, and the sad thing is you can get a better quality ad out of something that's fake and AI generated than like an actual real happy customer, because that's just where we're at now.
And then there's things that are so obviously staged. Like most things are staged now. That's either AI slop or they're just staged. Almost nothing's real.
Everything is fake and gay, or until proven gay.
This is true. These are rules that you should live by.
Except for Monero, of course.
Well, the thing is Monero isn't real either, but the price discovery is becoming more real every day, which is kind of the whole point. I feel like people are deviating away from the whole premise of getting back to money that does real price discovery. And what kind of freaks me out a little bit is otherwise really intelligent people. I mean, a great example is Peter Schiff. Like, I love the guy. His dad is one of my heroes, right? Erwin Schiff is probably one of the greatest men who ever lived. But Peter Schiff, it's like, well, gold is real money because it's like backed by something. And it's like the price discovery mechanism of money is like 90% of the value of money. I realize that it has its origins in being something tangible and all that. And I'm not saying that there's not value to that, but the fact that there can be a universal unit of account with a price discovery mechanism is the entire premise of why you would need money, because it's supposed to be the thing that replaces barter. Like, barter is so ridiculously inefficient, but without a price discovery mechanism, you're back to barter. And I don't think people realize how close we've come back to the world of barter, because at this point, people get out of money to hold assets that they believe will hold its value because the money doesn't. We've already lost the value of money in the whole world's economy, where people are trying to get out of money because they don't expect it to hold its value or discover the price of something. And so the world is ready for real money again, but it doesn't exist. And gold is losing its value as money because it's now becoming like this element of barter. And what did they do to make gold not money? They added friction to transactions in gold, premiums and like financial markets, killing the price discovery, making it expensive to trade and buy and sell in gold. And Monero has a real opportunity to pick up that torch. And I think that this whole like speculative element, and I think that this Zcash story is kind of proving that people are stuck in that way of thinking again, where it's like, well, Zcash pumped and Monero didn't. But I would argue, like, even with price suppression, Monero is holding its price discovery mechanism extraordinarily well. Even with all of these other things, Monero is providing that seamless, liquid, frictionless transaction on the base level that other things cannot provide right now.
Anybody new want to jump up on stage? Now is the time. Now would be a good day to do it. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. It was exciting to have that person jump up that's selling the property in Japan. It was nice to see that that was real. Honestly, I didn't believe that listing when I first saw it go up. But very cool to see that was legit.
It's kind of bizarre because I'm actually supposed to meet with one of the main elements of my business team about moving him to Japan to how if you like work for a company and you live in Japan, you can get your citizenship. And then the weekend before that's supposed to happen, this happens on Monerotopia. I thought it was really cool.
That's awesome.
If that's something you ever want to do, Doug, let me know, because I'm like actually doing it right now. So
what?
So what she was talking about it earlier, and I haven't finished combing through all the details, but I know it's true. I'm far enough to know that this is a normal thing. Where if you have a company and you set up a branch in Japan, they have very favorable citizenship laws to a person who goes over there to work for that company. And they'll basically peg the viability of the company to your citizenship. So if you're working for a viable company that shows evidence that it's going to stay there, they'll just let you become a citizen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. I didn't realize Japan was that accessible, actually. I never really looked into it. And it does seem very ideal in many ways. I love the strong property rights.
It's a very high trust society.
That is true. That is true. I don't know, guys. What else we got? I feel like we covered it all. We covered the Zcash extravaganza. We covered it all, guys. Monero is chugging along. We're seeing further developments of full chain membership proofs. I think have you guys been following that closely? Tux, have you been following what's going on in the dev chat with that? I kind of slacked a little bit on that. I mean, I know they launched the test net. I think everything's kind of moving along nicely, right?
Yeah, I'm not really in the dev chats either. I've just been seeing what's been announced on X. And yeah, it looks like things are moving along. Heating up a little bit, getting pretty exciting.
The timing on Monerotopia is going to be really interesting, man, because it looks like it might be like right around the same time. This could be the most lit Monerotopia ever.
Yes, and that will be exciting.
And for those of you who are on the fence, just remember, it is October now. If you want to be well prepared, you need to get your tickets and you need to get your airfare or whatever it is that you're going to do to get there. If you're having I want to put to rest the idea also. There are some people that get a little concerned about like safety in Mexico City. I mean, if you're saying this as a person who lives in like Chicago or something, then you just need to shut up, because you're like, come on, man. Like, just look at the numbers and ask yourself, if you live in Chicago now and you're worried about Mexico City, you maybe ate a little too much mainstream media slop, okay? And you need to, for one, quit that cold turkey, because it's bad for your brain. But then also, it's with a few very reasonable precautions, you can mitigate your risk incredibly well. But then there's another thing too, which is all you have to do is reach out to the people who are known to be going. Make sure that you put yourself close to those people, or even stay with those people, and then travel together, and you're going to be fine. All right. You can bring your risk to nearly zero by just traveling with people who, especially if at least one of them is a fluent Spanish speaker. Just travel in groups if you're concerned about your security, and you will be fine. I will be down there. A lot of other very, very large people will be down there. You'll be fine. So reach out to the people in the community, travel together. If that's something that, I mean, I was alone and drunk like the whole time, and I did fine. So you'll be fine. But it's like, if you're concerned about your security, just travel in a group sober, and you'll be fine. Okay.
Yeah, especially that immediate area that we're in. It's seemingly a very, safe part of town.
Roma is like Portland, Oregon from 1990. It's like, it's so safe and so relaxed, and you'll be fine. It's not that's not the part of Mexico City that people are talking about when they talk about the dangers of Mexico City. And then the other thing you have to remember is, like, who's hurting who? It's like cartel violence and political violence. So if you're not part of the cartel and you're not there to, speak against the government, you're going to be fine. So I guess, it is Monerotopia, so you're kind of doing a little bit of both, but they don't know that. All right. So
they might want to come learn about it. I mean, I don't know how strongly I want to put that message out there.
And by the way, for all the feds listening, yes, come on down, buy your VIP tickets. We would love to hear about how great the government is, or whatever it is. We're very open. Like, feds, welcome. All right, come on down.
And we know that
probably
they have
not going to get any converts. Well. But what was that?
And we know they have the Monero to spend as well.
Exactly. Yes, it's a great place to dump your Monero. In fact, think about it. If you buy a whole bunch of stuff down in Mexico, you might be pushing the price down, which is not true. But still, like, come spend your Monero. Alaska Non would love to help you part with that. You can take all of those Fed notes and burn it to hide all your inflation. Come on down.
Realizing too, I should announce that on XMR Bazaar we added Trocador, so you can now check out with Trocador. It's hard for me to, I think, show it here. So yeah, if you select direct payment and confirm order, it becomes part of the checkout process. So if you don't have any Monero, you can still shop on XMR Bazaar and purchase goods and services peer-to-peer with any of the other major cash-like cryptos. And it'll be auto-swapped into Monero, so the seller always receives Monero. So
does Trocador take Fed notes?
No, unless it's stable coins.
Stable coins, yeah. That's about it, though.
XMR Bazaar doing you a favor, helping you get rid of your useless garbage and converting it into pure gold.
Come spend your pumped up Dash on XMR Bazaar. Actually, I don't even know if we added Dash. I think maybe that's one of there's, endless coins on Trocador. We didn't put the whole list. We just put a select list of like the most cash-like ones. Just come spend your Doge. Come spend your Doge on XMR Bazaar, your Litecoin, your Zcash. Come spend your Zcash gains on XMR Bazaar, and the seller will receive Monero. I wanted to get the word out on that. We could end it here, guys. Good show. 3 hours 15. I don't mind ending on time as opposed to dragging things out for another hour or so. I got a christening coming up tomorrow. Penelope's getting baptized.
Very nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I'm all for fam time. You guys want to call it here?
Sure.
Yeah, let's call it here. So, guys, we do these shows every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you next week, and enjoy the ride. Don't get spooked out of your Monero, guys. Don't get spooked out of your position.
Or sell it to me.
AK Non will gladly take it off your hands if you are too afraid.
All right. Adios.
Peace,
God bless you all.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odysee, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you.